Today's show is brought to you in part by Leesa Mattress. Leesa was founded with a simple goal to help people sleep better. Sleeping bad is bad. Sleeping good? Look, it's good. With an innovative direct-to-consumer online strategy, Leesa's mattresses are 100% American-made. They're challenging the traditional mattress industry. That's fascinating. Forbes even named it one of the top 20 startups to watch. Can't trust Forbes? Who can you trust? Well, look, I'm not going to talk about the veracity of Forbes here. See for yourself why everyone is raving about Leesa by trying it in your home 100 nights risk-free. Right now, you can get $75 off a Leesa mattress with the offer code Bombcast at LEESA.com.
Hey, hi, hello. It is Tuesday, April the 25th, 2017. It's the Giant Bombcast. I'm Brad Shoemaker. Whoa.
That is like April is pretty much over.
I know. Then it's May.
Yeah.
Then it's June.
Well, okay, hang on.
Okay. You ready for this one?
No. Fucking lay it on me, man.
July coming at you.
Fuck this shit. I'm out. Fuck this podcast.
Jeff Gersman back from points. East, west, north, south,
east mostly.
Elsewhere.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Back.
Took some vacation time.
Nice.
Got out of the office.
Yes.
Did some things.
Good thing to do periodically.
Yeah, definitely. We went to Las Vegas.
Nice.
Which originally there's multiple times now we've made plans to go out to the wilderness and do stuff, and then for the first time the whole place fucking burned and we couldn't go.
There's no wilderness left.
This time, huge rains washed out bridges and roads on both sides of the place we were going to go.
It's good to get out there when the disasters are on.
Yeah.
Test your mettle.
Literally the place we had booked to go to in Central California was just like, we are fucking closed. I was like, oh, well, all right, I guess we're not going to go there. So, scramble together a vacation, Las Vegas.
Yeah. Vegas is always there for you.
Yeah.
You need to go somewhere and do something bad.
But it was awesome. It was actually, I've been to Las Vegas for work a lot over the years,
yes.
and only a few times for just personal stuff.
Taking a lot of work trips to Vegas will really kill your desire to go to Vegas recreationally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But the game industry doesn't have a lot of events anymore that require travel. So it's not a lot of, there are way fewer trips to Vegas. I feel like there were years where I was spending 6 weeks in Vegas or something stupid like that, just spread over the course of a year because different publishers would hold different events and all this, and it was just a nightmare.
Yeah.
That downtown airport is the fact that you get off of McCarran and be downtown within 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's
one
really,
of the best parts about going to Vegas.
But also that whole city just feels like one big airport. It feels like the strip and everything is just an extension of that airport.
Nothing
you never
but
truly
sweaty ass crowds.
Yeah.
Trying to hustle past.
And
definitely
and kiosks and small retailers.
And I just I had a surreal time out of the gate because I hadn't been there in a while, and so we checked in. We ended up staying at the Bellagio and just went down to the street and went walking up the street, and there were it had gone like man's Chinese theater. There were just dudes dressed up like Pikachu and
nice.
All this other stuff, taking money for pictures, and it was just what the fuck is going on?
And in that Vegas heat,
yeah,
too.
right.
Lord.
It had been rainy a little bit. It was not as hot as it had been, so it was nice.
Even so, it's always humid as hell.
But yeah, definitely, it was.
Is it?
Humid?
I thought Vegas was
dry.
I thought it was a dry heat.
It's a dry heat, sorry.
It's a dry heat.
Depends on how hot it
The
gets.
humidity is from all the sweat.
That's right. In the suit. Very humid. We got, so I don't know, we just kind of went and had some rough ideas about what we wanted to do, and then eventually just said, fuck it, rented a car and drove to Arizona, and went to the Hoover Dam and then the Grand Canyon.
Huh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I hear that's the site.
This is potentially the dumbest question. I thought the Hoover Dam was in Nevada.
It is on the border.
Oh, is it?
There's there's
wow.
a clock on the far side that has Arizona time.
Oh, wow. So there's literally the Arizona half of the dam and the Nevada half?
I don't know where the line is exactly, but it is right around there.
Wow.
We tried to go one time, but we didn't realize it was a Monday, a national holiday, and we basically turned around. As you get to that little creep, and we saw how many cars there were. There's nowhere going to park up there.
Yeah. We ended up just parking, getting out, looking at the dam, going that's a
That's a dam.
Big.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's up with that dam?
It's a really good looking Tony Hawk level. It looks fucking incredible. I would love to fucking A, know how to skateboard, B, know how to skateboard like a Tony Hawk video game, which I don't know. I'm pretty sure you can do. And then C, have 2 minutes to collect all the letters strewn about that dam.
It is in Fallout New Vegas. Just,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
so reminder.
Who has set up camp? Somebody must have made that their base. Some faction must
Julius,
have
fucking evil
Caesar.
robots.
must be
Caesar,
headquarters.
I think.
Caesar's
No, I
legions.
think everybody's fighting over it, I believe.
Okay.
Like Caesar wants to take it over. The people in Vegas want it for power.
Okay.
I never. I got to a point where we could keep on driving and know we're gonna wait an hour to get there, or turn around. And we're just I didn't even get to see it.
Totally. I would if it was an hour away. It was a slow drive across it, and like some parking lots were closed. So we ended up not paying any money to park or to go in the visitor center and get like their tremendous views of the dam. Because we were pretty much just like trying to go to the Grand Canyon, and that's on the way.
Sure.
So it's like 5 hours if you want to go to like the national park that is the Grand Canyon, but 2 hours. They got a little spot on the West Rim where you can go hang out, and so we went there.
Is the dam tour just like for views and vistas, or do you actually get to get in there and
Oh,
see
you
like
get to actually look at power
like
stuff.
hydroelectric
Yeah,
stuff?
if you take the tour.
That's what I would
I
wanna
tuned
see.
it to the AM radio station that was like, tune here for information about the day. And it was
Wow.
like, today it sounded like Fallout because it kept
Man,
fading in and out.
that's awesome.
It was like sounded like a broadcast that will be like still broadcasting long after we're all dead.
200 years from now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That and like traffic info.
Right, yeah, it was
still
the
really
same type deal, yeah.
That's cool.
And then we went to the Grand Canyon, which fucking scared the goddamn shit out of me,
That
man.
is a sizable
It is a big fucking hole in the
gash
ground.
in the earth.
You have no idea, man. Like,
I've been there.
Okay, then
It's
you
big.
know. Because you see all these photos of this thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, beautiful.
Yep.
And you go, and you're like, holy fucking shit.
Yep.
All I can see, my entire vision
Yep.
is gigantic fucking mile-deep hole. And so where we went, they have something called the Skywalk, and it is like this big glass
A glass bridge thing.
glass bridge
Yeah.
little loop that goes out.
Oh, hell no.
That was closed due to what we were referred to as an emergency, which was fine because we went to this other spot they had like a little bus that ran a loop going to the different spots, and they're like, oh, go up here to Guano Point. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right,
that's
sure.
good.
So we get out, and it's fucking mind blowing. Also, no rail. Loose gravel at the edge. You're just like standing at the edge of the fucking Grand Canyon going like, this is it. I could.
Darwin's
It
good.
is incredibly windy.
a rail the length of the Grand Canyon is probably pretty expensive.
Yeah,
they don't have the budget for that.
No, totally. And I appreciate that there was no rail because it really would have ruined all the photos, honestly. But I got freaked the fuck out. Like, I'm normally not bad with heights.
I'm bad.
But there was something about like I could take 2 steps this way and that would be it. Which and also is really loose gravel.
Yeah.
It would take a while. It wouldn't exactly be like right then and there.
And it is windy as a motherfucker. So we went kind of walking around the edge. And we got to a point where it was like too windy. It's like, okay, we need to like fucking shelter against this rock for a couple of minutes and hope this wind. Okay, we're going back. We're going back the other way. It's too much. But it was cool, man. It was definitely worth it.
It's pretty much a sheer drop, right? It's not a slope.
No,
Like
it is. I mean, you
if
would hit a bunch of shit on the way
okay,
down.
You would tumble.
Yeah, I mean, you
wouldn't
would
just
tumble.
fall.
It is sheer enough.
Okay.
It is not a slope in any way.
People fall in too. There's a lot of selfie takers. Like, hey,
yeah. It was, an average of 12 people die every year.
Really?
At
Accidentally,
the Grand
or-
Canyon.
Wow.
They did not specify.
I figured they would have gotten that number down by now.
But some of it, I believe, is heat stroke. I'm not sure.
No. Okay, not
Wearing their
specifically from
Pikachu
falling.
costumes out
Right.
there.
Yeah.
that's-
Don't
yeah,
fucking do it. Do
Grand
not.
Canyon
Do
is
not
just
fucking do it.
Turned into the Chinese theater.
We later found a news story that said that someone had fallen in a crevice near the sky. Well, why it was closed. An older woman had fallen in there and got wedged, and they were able to pull her out.
She had to gnaw her own arm off.
But so I guess like the story that we read said that like every time she took a deep breath, she fell a few more inches.
Oh!
So it was this like fucking heinous thing where they had
that's
to airlift her out of the
horrible.
hole and then airlift her to a hospital and stuff. And it sounds like that she made it out of there okay. By the end of our trip, the area was open again.
Think they
I'll
had
say
to-
that much. I don't know. We didn't go.
I think they had to like grease her up to get her out of there.
I don't know.
that happens a lot at Ocean
that's what
Beach
you
and
would
like
do, right?
Land's End up in San Francisco.
Yeah,
Like,
there's
people,
some-
people just like,
yep.
oh, my dog.
There's
my
definitely
dog
some-
is over there. I got to walk over there now, and they fall off, and it's like $100,000 for each of those rescue missions, straight to the taxpayers, man.
That's right.
It's like
right, man.
they got to get that. We do bring that helicopter out. It's not
Yeah.
cheap.
Send them a bill, man. You
Yeah.
break it.
No, you just don't fucking walk near a sheer ass cliff and go over it. It's not
Come on.
hard.
What are you paying all that health insurance for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope some of that goes to the helicopter fund. There were a zillion helicopters around there because they're all doing tours and stuff like that. But
so did you wind up checking out of the Bellagio and then going, or just like
no? We just went for the day.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. We just made a day of it. Left in the morning, rented this fucking convertible. Okay, so if you want to see apparently no one bought a convertible Camaro because Hertz has them all. And as soon as I got in one, and I didn't even want that car. I was trying to get a Mustang because I used to drive a Mustang, but then I show up and in the parking spot was this convertible Camaro. I'm like, all right, whatever, fine. I drove a Camaro to E3 and hated it because it feels like it's chopped. Like you don't get a lot of
clearance.
Yeah, like the windshield has a very extreme slope to it, and the verticality of it is such that it just sucks to drive.
Yes. Also, I don't know. My cousin had a mid-'90s Camaro. That's the last Camaro I rode in. But the dash also felt like it was 1,000,000 miles long or wide.
Yeah.
Like the distance across the dash from you to the glass was like 3 feet or something.
And the HUD in this car, the speedometer and all this other stuff is just fucking straight up Fast and the Furious. Like the font, everything.
Nice.
Like it's just everything's got this slightly italicized for speed look to it.
Nice.
Just dumb, but whatever. It was a fine enough car. I don't care. But also as soon as I got in it, I realized that like every fucking black convertible Camaro must have been sold to Hertz and not to individual people, because everywhere I looked there were 5 more of them, all with different state plates on them. Like people just had rented cars in the Vegas area and were just driving around these fucking things.
My favorite story of renting a convertible ever was with 4 I want to say Norwegian premium members who came to SF, and I had a beer with them, and they talked about renting a Corvette up in Seattle. They were going to go drive from the landed in Seattle, 4 dudes off on their own little thing, and they were going to drive all the way to San Diego. Rented a Corvette and somehow dropped the transmission on me on the freeway.
Wow. Oops.
Which is an expensive.
Yeah.
That's
a lot.
Yeah, I don't even know how. I don't drive stick at all, so I assume it was like one of those things where they didn't know, or I don't know if Europeans, do they mostly know how to drive stick?
Yeah, like stick is way bigger in Europe than it is here.
I forget which
European sticks are huge.
Yep. That's for sure.
It's not these Sanwa parts.
Nope.
Yeah,
what were you talking about?
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
What'd you do in Vegas though?
Hung out. I don't know. We went and saw a Vegas show proper. We went to the Beatles show, the Cirque du Soleil.
I did not like that.
I thought it was fine. I don't know.
I don't like dancing.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Cirque du Soleil, maybe not.
Cirque du Soleil
not for you.
overall.
Cirque du Soleil Luzia, the Mexican one they did. That's mostly people doing fucking crazy shit.
That's what you're there for.
I want to see people
fucking crazy shit.
Swinging on.
So the thing I liked about this show was that there was some weird techie moments in it where like they had these curtains drawn that they were projecting shadows of the Beatles onto them that were then getting in weird shadow fights with real life humans. And there was some goofy shit like that.
I appreciate the artistry of the whole thing.
Yeah, like that stuff was really neat. I mean, yeah, it's it's big dance numbers and it's like a really weird. Like I just kept looking at like the way the stage would transform as they kept doing
that stuff
shit.
is amazing.
Like, just going like, who the fuck thought of this shit?
Their
it's
loadout
crazy.
for those shows is they had a temporary one. The one I saw was up near Luzia, was up near AT&T Park. They built in like a tent pole.
A tent pop.
Tent pop.
Yep.
And that was a temporary stage, but it still they had a fucking sprinkler come down with a waterfall into a grate, and they would have people come out. Just the amount of thought, and then people fucking died. Some dude died up here, like the son of the founder of Cirque du Soleil actually died in San Francisco like last year, setting up for Luzia or something like that. So.
Yeah, it's
12 people every year.
12 people every year, 12 Cirque du Soleil performers
Mostly
every year.
of heat stroke, though.
Yeah, no, I saw a couple of Cirque du Soleil shows years ago when the game industry used to go to Vegas a lot. They were like, and everyone's going to go see O. And I'm like, oh, great. Fucking awesome. And I got to see the Blue Man Group that way as well. And was not super impressed with any of those shows. There was one spot in this show where they lowered a bunch of LED lights on ropes. Yeah. And then it was completely dark, and they had them all going up in this very, like, we are warping away from here kind of way that just reminded me of Fez. I don't know. I spent most of that show thinking of Fez, honestly.
Nice. Did they do that thing where they put the cloth over, like, half the audience and had the under part was...
Yeah,
we were above that
part was... Yeah, we were above that, too. Which, they pull a fucking drape or curtain or, cloth up over, like, the first half of the audience.
Not touching the people.
No, no, touching the people.
No, totally. You're under it.
People are kind of, like, pulling it along.
Huh.
And then they're kind of whipping it up and down, and they got people up in a fake boat, and they're projecting sea-like images onto the top of the sheet. It's the craziest look. It looks fucking cool as shit, man. You look and go like, that's some practical effects.
Yeah,
for that
I was gonna say no video there.
Yeah, like it's that stuff was really cool. I really liked it a lot.
It was really neat.
for that stuff. Yeah, I'm not
a Beatles person.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I didn't know any of the songs. except for the big.
It wasn't until Beatles Rock Band came out that I actually like connected with any of the Beatles songs. Like something about just playing bass in them a lot. I was like, actually, all these parts are really fucking good.
They're all good stuff. It's just never been my thing.
Yeah. It was neat.
My only thing I took away from Cirque du Soleil up here is San Francisco. It was not a permanent thing. Like it was all temporary stage and everything. And all I could think of was every one of these gymnasts must be in a dorm somewhere because they're not like renting them apartments or anything like that. And that dorm must have the like Olympic Village kind of style, just condoms coming in constantly.
You would think.
All these people are almost amazingly beautiful, chiseled muscles, like flexible. Yeah, I had some salacious thoughts.
Athletic.
As did everybody.
Say.
My girlfriend has a big Mexican family. I think she brought one of her aunts we were showing her pictures later on. They're just like, there's one dude in it who is like doing this rope thing, playing with a tiger, and it's just
got some lascivious comments out of the older generation of the tiger.
Yeah, for me too.
All right.
We traded them back and forth.
Nice.
So we did that stuff. I also went to the Pinball Hall of Fame out there, which I've been meaning to get out to for a while.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of it. Looks awesome.
It looks exactly like the pictures.
Okay.
Not a lot has changed. Those pictures are not necessarily recent, but I walked in there and went like, oh, this looks exactly like the Google Street. Like they did one of those internal Google Street View things. And I was like, okay, this is still this place. And it's an arcade. Like they bill it as like a nonprofit, and they say it's the Pinball Hall of Fame.
Is everything just playable?
Yeah,
it's not a museum. Nothing like so rare. Like you can't touch this.
No, there was nothing. There was like some good old like mechanical pinball machines, and they had a row of actual just video stuff. Ms. Pac-Man.
How far back did they go? I mean.
There was some stuff.
Because pinball goes back like
it goes back to the
30s, 40s,
something
like that.
Maybe even earlier than that. I want to
say there's like a predecessor to
like
pinball.
Didn't it? You could date it back to the 1800s if you wanted to.
Like it grew out of gambling, right?
Yeah,
somehow
a little bit.
Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Yeah. That's why all the machines say for amusement purposes only on them, is to say these are not gambling machines. That was neat. It was a decent arcade. I don't know. I didn't spend a ton of time there. I kind of made my way around and went like, all right, I'm just going to play this WWF Royal Rumble machine a few times and play a few other things and take off. But it was worth a stop if you're interested in pinball.
Is your significant other interested in pinball? Because I can see if you're bringing somebody to something like that.
Yeah. No, she was off doing other shit.
Okay.
Yeah. She was off doing her own thing. So I was like, okay, we got a few hours here. I got to go return this rental car, get rid of this fucking Camaro, and then go play some pinball. And then I'll see you back here in 3 hours.
That's a good day.
That must be a stressful thing to. I'm sure they have rules like no drinks on the machines and everything like that. But a lot of that stuff, if you break it, it is there. I know just enough about pinball to know that maintenance is really complicated.
I feel happy. Like I had my pinball machine for a while. I had that Earthshaker machine in my house, and I didn't know how to fucking fix it. And you lift it up and you look at all the wires and stuff, and you're just like, well, what the fuck am I going to do with this? And also, like the plastics on it were warped from being in the sun too long, and they don't make those parts anymore.
That's the part that would be tough.
Yeah,
you can always find somebody to do electronics repair, but getting parts for like 20, 30-year-old machines, like
and so, but you do have cases where because there is a collector's market, because it's like people have to have the know-how. Eventually, someone actually just said like, oh, we're going to make new ramps, new plastics for Earthshaker.
Yeah, they absolutely do that.
Yeah,
I've been to enough arcade style conventions, and it seemed like the vendors there that are selling parts like that.
So when I traded it to Steve Lynn for a Smash TV machine, I'm like, go have fun with that. So he eventually did find replacement plastics for it and all that other stuff.
Do the manufacturers have like one kind of size? I'm assuming Bally would have just like one standard size ramp for all the machines.
Oh yeah. Okay, if you go back to the 70s, you find wide body machines. Like Atari had a Superman machine out that was a lot wider than the typical machine, or like Genie or some of these other machines of that era. So there were times when they were experimenting with size. But generally, that stuff got standardized, and I assume it's at least standardized by company, if nothing else. Sure. But yeah, the size is pretty normalized. So yeah, I don't know. That was a good time getting out there. I was there for just the right amount of time. As someone who has made a lot of trips to a lot of different arcades over the years, I get to a point where it's like, okay, there are places for me to play a Black Knight machine a few times a year. So
how do they do it at that one? Is it a flat rate, or you have to drop coins?
It was literally quarters. It was not even tokens. It was just like get some quarters and play some games. And most of them were a quarter or 50 cents.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they had I was actually really excited because they had a Star Trek the Motion Picture Simulator, the old Sega Vector game.
Yeah.
They had one of those in a sit-down configuration. So it's like you're sitting down, and it's like you're in a captain's chair where you've got like a little dial on one hand and 4 buttons over here for like fire, thrust, warp, and photon torpedoes. And I was like, oh man, cool, this thing works. I'm going to sit down and play it. And I sit down and it's a Windows desktop in there. I was like, well, fuck it. I'm going to play it anyway.
Which Windows?
It was 7 maybe. I don't know. So I put some quarters in it and hit the button and it launched MAME. And then I played the same Star Trek set that I have on my hard drive at home. But I was still sitting in the actual cabinet. And it is I assume, it being a vector game, like getting a vector monitor is not easy. So it's one of those cases where it's like, it's either this or probably nothing.
What kind of screen was it?
It was an LCD in there.
So what does a vector game look like on an LCD? Like not good?
It doesn't flicker the way real vectors do. They try
none of that glow.
No, it doesn't have that bright. Like real vectors are bright and crazy in a way.
Pierce your eyes.
Yeah,
like it's
And even that Vectrex that we got in the office a while back, like still has that feel to it.
Yeah.
So they just kind of do that, and there's a lot of are you going to anti-alias the vectors to make them look straighter, or are they going to look all jagged and messed up, and so emulating vector games never quite captures it. Though they've over the years it's gotten a lot better in terms of just like we're going to try to put a bit of a fake glow on the vectors, and if you want thicker vectors, you can kind of adjust some of that stuff in the settings on that stuff, but. Yeah, that was a sort of. I'm always a little bummed when I see just MAME installations running in arcades for quarters.
I mean, this is like
I think it's against the MAME license.
Some Wizard of Oz shit, just like pulling the curtain back and it's like there's just a guy in there.
It's a little bit.
This is not the magic that I was promised.
It's like if you're going to the location and you kind of are hoping that you're going to see really the real thing.
Right.
They also had I don't know if you've seen one of these, but they had it's a virtual pinball machine. And it's
just like a giant screen.
It's a PC on a TV that's been rotated sideways and dropped into a pinball cabinet.
Yeah.
And you can actually, you can people there are freely available software packages that people have used to recreate real pinball machines and emulate the ROMs and hook all this stuff up on a like gray market-ish sort of basis. I think that this runs those. And you kind of get them in the cabinet, and you can there's 100 pinball machines in here, and you can kind of tilt it, I guess.
Is that like a homebrew project, or is it something that's
people have built it themselves, but there's also a commercially available thing, and it's got a front end, so you're just like tabbing through all these pinball machines, and then you play it. But it's weird because it's you're looking over it, but it is a flat 2D image, and you're like it's like I'm looking at Funhouse,
right?
But that's not Rudy. That's it's just fucking weird.
Is that illegal as shit, or is there like no precedent for that stuff? Because like.
I mean, those things. So I want to say that stuff got sold, but also pinball's kind of in a weird case where, because what the fuck are you going to do with it? A lot of the program ROMs for pinball machines were just sitting on a website, like on the Bally Midway website for years and years.
But who did for
operators to do upgrades and all that other stuff, like burn your own chips, put the upgrade.
You're talking about just the thing on like the LED screen or whatever, like that ROM?
Well, also like what servo, if this thing activates, how many points do you get?
Like all the logic that controls the mechanical stuff.
Like all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you can wire that up to, if you spend enough time, you could wire up a real pinball machine to whatever the fuck you want back there.
Okay.
If you know what the wiring is doing and all that other stuff. So,
but somebody still has to go do a bunch of art of all the stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of high quality, and the people do this for money. Like the pinball arcade people are doing the same work as a commercial product and getting the licenses and doing all this stuff.
Right.
Where they're taking the machines apart and scrubbing down the play fields and getting really good high quality scans of them, so when they drop them in, it looks good. And they're rendering a 3D space, whereas this top down pinball machine, the software running in it was a flat 2D image.
Right.
I was just thinking that if you had a 3D TV with glasses, that would be the perfect kind of app. I have a 3D TV.
That would be
because
cool.
you'd be looking at it like
that angle. I don't know if
I don't know
how that would work.
So VR is the actual answer.
Yeah, I know that it would be, but but also that's a big rig to put on to play some pinball in a museum.
I might say that building a fake, in a museum, yeah, sure. I might say that like building a fake pinball table is somehow more extravagant and singular and weird than just buying a VR headset. Yeah. But the VR pinball stuff that's been out there, I don't know that anyone's done real tables yet.
It feels like, for me, I've never tried VR pinball, but it feels like there has to be something solid. I should just pull in triggers. Is that all you're really doing? Like little shake?
I mean, with the pinball effects or whatever it is that came out on the Rift, it was just you're holding a controller and doing it. But someone built
tape it to something.
So someone built
I was
like
just
a
about
proper
to ask
width.
If somebody had made
that was
like
something that was on tested. I think Ben Heck or somebody
because
built one of those things.
2 buttons and a plunger, right?
Yeah, 2 buttons and a plunger, and then if you want to try to map some analog stick to the movement of the device for tilting or whatever, you could kind of do that too.
Man, that's cool.
Like the ways to kind of make pinball live on
So make it feel right while you're in the headset. Yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of crazy and kind of awesome.
Huh.
Yeah, so I don't know. It was a good time.
That sounds like a good week out of town.
Yeah, it was nice.
A necessary thing to do.
What was the alternative? Camping or what were you guys?
Just like cabins and well, so it was going to be like some nights of like cabin style camping, not like tent type stuff.
Sure.
But then like one night at a resort that had a big old infinity pool and all that weird shit, kind of overlooking the coast and stuff. But
some relaxing stuff.
Yeah, but all that stuff was just closed.
I went camping twice last year, and I think after doing that, I'm very pro cabin.
Yeah,
pro cabin idea.
Pro cabin.
We spent one day, and by the time the sun came up, we were up in Belden. It was like the sun came up at 9 o'clock, and it was 110 inside the tent. Like it was like beating right against us. So, yeah, I'm all pro. I was not pro camping until last year, and I went out with a bunch of friends and had a really good time. But the tent part of that is kind of the killer.
Yeah, it seems like you get out there with the right group of people and the right amount of drinks and you know whatever.
How many days are we talking in a tent?
Thursday through Sunday morning one time, and then the other one was Thursday through Monday morning. I think I told the story before. The one up in the houseboats up in Lake Shasta, we had to be up at 6 to pack up and get those houseboats back to dock by noon, or else we'd have to default on the rent or something. So they played this song. It was a bunch of people who were big in like the psytrance scene, a bunch of DJs, and they played music 24/7 on these speakers bigger than I am. We were a quarter mile away, hear it very clearly up the hill.
Oh, this was not your posse?
It was friends of friends for the most part. Crazy bunch. Jesus. But this Monday morning at 6 a.m. they played the song to get everybody up and cleaning. It was called "Put a Dunk on It."
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Fucking A. Yeah. All right.
You've probably heard it.
Yeah. I would love to get up and clean shit up while that song is being played. That song's fucking terrible in the best way.
Put a bag and dunk on it.
Yeah.
Some happy hardcore thing from Northern England. Oh man, it was. Yeah.
It's a good music video. It's just like a bunch of fucking chavvy looking dudes just going.
Oh man, it was rough, but those two camping trips were really, really fun. We're gonna do them both again this year. It's like an annual thing apparently. So,
cool.
But I've also been to Vegas last year too for the first time since I went for the GameStop manager show when I was at Obsidian. That was a 1-day stayover. Again, we've all been to Vegas multiple times as far as
For me, it's this weird feeling of like going to like I went to places this time and went like. Oh, I've been here before. Because like, you know, like the work trips are just like such a blur. You're just like, okay, I'm going here, staying here. Like you have no choice in any of it. You're just like, I'm going here. And then they're like, oh, like the one choice I had last time I went, there was an EA event. And they were like, and we're going to take people out on the track because we're making a new Need for Speed game. And I'm like, I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to here to see the games and then not go on this other weird event thing.
Good hotel rooms in Vegas if you want to stay in, man. We
had a great hotel room. I very nearly our entire floor smelled like weed. I very nearly did it. I was almost, really close.
You almost became the person.
33rd floor of the fucking Bellagio just stinks. We ended up calling down at one point because it was just like in the room. Actually,
wow,
like, this is fucking crazy.
I did that once too at E3. There was a West Hollywood High Ramada. I was at the West Hollywood Ramada. The West Hollywood High School came in after prom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
100 screaming 17-year-olds filling up tubs with ice and beer everywhere.
Yep.
And I was calling the front desk like, you need to fucking figure the situation out because we are not sleeping. It's 5 a.m.
West Hollywood extra high.
Should have called the
cops.
That
was what the fuck? Like, where did we used to stay for E3 when?
I know exactly which.
Because we would walk to Bunker Hill. Like there was a liquor store on Bunker Hill, and we would go, and I would just come back with a case of fucking 40s and whatever else we could find.
Is that the hotel that Ask a Sleepy Guy happened in?
Yeah, it probably is.
Okay.
And
this is GameStop days?
Yeah. And so
GameSpot days?
Yeah. So and it was always prom. Like the last night of E3 was always prom.
Yeah. Somebody was always
as well.
Prom.
So so it was always like all these fucking high school kids all dressed up in fucking prom dresses. Yeah. And then we stumble in after having worked all of E3 just fucking dead ass fucking fucked up. And just a case of fucking 40s and whatever else, and just like getting in the elevator and just like these high school kids looking at it, going like just trying to they're trying to figure out a way how to get in on this. Like, can we get you to buy us more like this? And watching them try to figure that out, and then looking at us going like, you're not here for prom. What the fuck is going on? Was always worth it.
Man.
Yeah, there was a lot of good bad times last night at E3.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yep. Yep. That's for another day.
Yeah.
My sister's getting married in Henderson this year. They live down there,
yeah.
and they sent me the invite. And I've been to a few weddings in my day, not as many as a lot of people, but they're always the people who are going to do it fucking right and do it somewhere out of church, no church, no Catholic priest, because that's going to be 2 hours of your time right there.
Yeah.
Just get it done, get me drinking afterwards. She is doing her wedding in a brewery. Casual dress only.
Yeah.
Do not bring a gift, or else it would be given to Goodwill.
Wow.
Okay.
And just like open bar for wine and beer. Man. Like, okay, you're doing it right. You're doing it right. And it's probably going to be, knowing them, it's probably going to be some, I don't know, rock climbing instructor who's going to do the ceremony. Just let it go crazy.
Sure.
But,
yeah. When we did our wedding, I think like the last minute change I made was like, oh, just let's have like we were. Because they charge a certain rate, and then you have to spend money. There's like a food and beverage minimum, just like we have for E3.
Yeah.
For the fucking the room we get. And so we hadn't quite hit it yet. So it was this last minute change of just like, oh, well, how about 2 more hours of open bar?
That's
like,
right decision.
And they're like, yep, that'll use it up.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, that's usually like that's a little more time than a lot of. I'm like, don't worry, I understand. I know the crowd I'm inviting. It'll be fine.
I vaguely remember Dave Lang dragging me out to a club that night with a bunch of college kids, and I don't remember
where did the college kids come from?
I think
they were going to this like club anyways.
And Dave Lang just like incorporated them into the.
No, we didn't. We were dancing with him. They weren't part of anything.
Okay.
He had a booth.
He recruited them.
I woke up the next day with the worst hangover I've ever had in my life, and my girlfriend tells me, and I don't remember any of this. I got you back in the lift, got back to the hotel room, and it was a nice hotel room. I liked the people a lot. I threw up on the phone.
Okay.
Somehow on the TV.
Yep. All right.
Somehow all over the bathroom, and somehow. She just laid me down on the ground and put my head inside a trash can because that's how much I was
inside.
Yep. And I don't remember any of it. By the time I get up, it's spick and span. She used to clean houses with part of a family business, and I felt. That's when I knew.
Whoa.
It was for real.
Yeah. I feel like I remember seeing a text or something.
Proposed from inside the trash can.
The next morning at like 10 a.m. that Lang and those guys were still awake and still going.
Yeah.
God damn.
I want to say like Adam fucking bled that night from something, or someone did. Like someone stepped on his heel. I don't. Something weird happened where he at some point someone's leg got messed up in that.
I would believe that
whole endeavor.
Yeah.
And then, as I understand it, Adam went straight from there to the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because that's when he was living that life.
I don't drink enough to throw up before I go to sleep very often, but that was one day. A few hours of open bar at a wedding with a bunch of people I really like. Yeah. It was rough. And then we had to drive the next morning. We had to check out by like 11, and we had fucking.
You're a hero.
A nice 50-mile drive back to San Francisco.
And then we went straight to a Super Bowl party, and I was just
of course.
dragging. But yeah, don't live my life, kids.
Matt Rorie.
Hey, how's it going?
You are the clutchest of team members.
Yeah, it was a last-minute substitution.
Pinch hitting. We had some guest action that fell through like 10 minutes before this podcast, and here you are.
Here I am.
Here you are.
Hey, how's it going?
How are you doing? I just wanted to say thank you
for
dropping everything.
It's fine. I mean, I can always
in
make
here.
time for this. I'm happy to do it.
Jason A. Stryker.
Yo.
Still the latest introduction in podcast history.
Yeah, it is.
On the
it's been
virtual
a while.
ones and twos down there.
I forgot I was here.
Yeah.
Really?
No. You guys want to talk about video games?
I would love to.
You want to talk about Battlegrounds?
Yeah,
Let's talk about Battlegrounds.
Fuck. You guys had a stream yesterday. I saw some of that.
So that was something. So the thing that was like burning a hole in my fucking like podcast pocket before I left on vacation was I totally won.
Oh,
wow!
Nice.
I kept playing Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, which for people that don't know is like 100 people drop on an island and it's a first person shooter.
Real battle royale.
Yeah, real battle royale type shit. It's the Condemned, but without Stone Cold Steve Austin.
After that stream, after my girlfriend got home yesterday and we did that stream, and I was all hyped and excited about it. And she was like, "Oh, what did you stream?" And I spent like 5-10 minutes explaining the concept to her, and then at some point she interrupted me and she was like, "Oh, it's like that Japanese movie." I was like, "Yep."
I did the same thing. So after I won, I went in to where my wife was and said, "I just remember that fucking game I was talking about. I just fucking won. I fucking first out of 100. Fuck everybody. I'm the greatest in the world." And she's like, "What is this?" And I started explaining. She's like, "Oh, like the Hunger Games." I'm like, "Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
there's some cultural touchstones. Around this game. But
Pascal won too, but he won 1 out of 29.
And he will not let you forget. Oh wait, are you serious?
That's a screenshot. He said 1 out of 29.
What?
some weird
29.
EU server thing or something?
He has not failed to remind me every time that game comes up that he has been a number one.
But
I did not know that
I was
out of-
number one before he was.
I didn't know that was out of such a small pool.
I'd have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it said.
Yeah.
So you got the chicken dinner?
I did. I won. And that game is intense and crazy in a way that a lot of games aren't. And it's early access, and so a lot of it has a ton of rough edges. Some of which I think actually work to its benefit, where it feels like a fucked up mod that you shouldn't be playing.
Kind of.
Which I guess that's its roots, right?
They put out that big update. Last Thursday.
But I kind of like that it is a little janky.
Yeah.
I kind of like that if you get out of the car while it's moving, you might manage to run yourself over with your own car, which I've done.
Like weird physics need to stay. Like stuff like the UI being a little bit like it could be a little faster to slap mods on your weapons.
The inventory UI and stuff like that. Like there are faster, like you know, there are a few ways to get at stuff, and there are faster and slower ways. It's fine, but yeah, that stuff still could be better. So that was the thing that happened to me is I kind of sat down and played like 4 games. I can really only play 3 or 4 games of it in a row unless they all are super short. Because at some point, like there is an intensity to it. You know, it's obviously you don't respawn. You get sent back to the lobby as soon as you get killed.
There's just enough spin up time on a match that by the time you get down to it, like you feel super invested.
Which I imagine
I've been sitting here for 20 minutes.
Like that's how Dota works, right? It's like the early game is just like you're fucking farming and doing whatever, but like fucking by mid game,
even just the matchmaking process can take 5 minutes. You know? And then you load in. It takes 5 minutes to go through picks and load in, and then there's like 90 seconds before the match even starts. Like by the time shit goes down, like much like Battlegrounds, it's like you have put so much time into it that you're like, all right, I have to get something out of this. Or I have just wasted.
I feel like Battlegrounds ramps up pretty quick.
It's definitely faster,
but yeah,
there is still, especially once you're gathering stuff, and sometimes that takes 10 minutes. You know.
Yeah, or like, you know, and then you have these moments where it's like, oh, I've because you start with nothing, and you run around you run from house to house and find gear, and you're like, oh, I actually just found like 3 really good guns, a good number of ammo. I found some armor. This is fucking great. I'm gonna fuck shit up, and then you die immediately. You're like, motherfucker. Yeah. So the run I had.
Does any of that stuff respawn, or is it just like first come first serve?
No, it's first come first serve.
It's all.
It sounds like that there are some spots that are guaranteed spawns for like vehicles.
Gotcha.
I've seen people say like that is the strategy is to in squads is to spawn where you know this vehicle, get in it immediately, and then drive away from the plane path to loot stuff.
Right. I love that none of that stuff respawns, because there's something about the feeling that somebody has been there before you that ratchets the tension way up. You know, it's like
I could round this corner. Like all these doors are open. There's nothing on the floor here.
Like you don't know if they were there 10 minutes ago and left, or if they are literally up the stairs
still
about,
up there,
about to kill you. You know?
So that is how I won. Is that I got a pretty good shotgun and a pretty good assault rifle, and so I would just kind of hang out inside and plot my next move. And then I was crouched upstairs in this garage for a while. Someone would walk up, and just do them.
Did you happen to be like kind of in the middle of where the circle was going? Because
I was definitely on a path where if you dropped from the plane at the first big critical thing, you were probably going to funnel my way eventually. So it's like that thing of like I'm upstairs walking around picking up stuff, and you hear a car pull up, and you're like, fuck. All right, I'm gonna get behind this box. If they're gonna come up these stairs, they're gonna come up here. I could shoot them when they're downstairs, but I should probably wait because I can get a good clean shot as soon as they get finished getting up the stairs. But that gives them a chance to turn and shoot me. So it's like that type of concept. Like, where am I going to lay this trap?
Right.
Where am I going to camp? Basically.
So how early in a match could you more or less pinpoint where? Because like it
changes. The circle. So it doesn't. The first circle does not indicate. It's not the center of that circle. Is not, yeah.
Okay.
So you might have a circle that's like, you know, yay big for the folks at home who are just listening. It's the size of my, you know, but where the inner circle is not always in the center. So the circle, the center of the circle kind of moves around.
So it's not like you can't predict like, okay, this is the best camping spot for this entire match or something. Okay,
definitely not. Maybe if you play enough, maybe it's just always like one of 8 spots or something, and I just haven't seen enough of it to know. But in my experience, it's been. So in the game I played, the tightest circle was completely out in the open. There was no cover. It was just there was a tree, and I kind of. And there was a hill, and I was on the top of the hill, and so there were 2 guys left. I was crouched near a tree. A guy came running over towards the tree. I shot him. There was one other guy left, and the circle constricted in such a way that I knew it wasn't the way that I just killed that guy. So I turned around, and I was at the top of a large hill, and sure enough, the guy was trying to run in the direction of the hill.
Yeah.
And I saw him. I was just like, oh, fuck this, and started shooting. He went prone, but I kept shooting and got him, and I killed 9 people. And finished first, and it was the best.
Yeah,
and I hadn't played since, so you know, like I
done.
Yep. Finished. Wrap it up. early access, no access.
Yep.
To uninstall this thing.
Yep.
But then, we ran that stream yesterday, which was fun. People should go check that out.
I really like the team stuff in that. It's kind of a different thing because
It's a very different thing.
Yeah.
But still fun.
Yeah.
And
I enjoy the aspect of like spotting for each other and like creeping around corners and covering each other's flanks and
So you guys actually squad up in game. This is all like handled through the client itself. It's not like you guys are like
So
in fact, if you play a solo game and try to find other players and team up, that is considered cheating.
Yeah,
they try to ban people that do that.
And it only like when you squad up in game, it only matches you against squads of the same size.
Oh,
so if you're like we were in a 3-man squad, so we were only up against other 3-man squads.
Okay.
Does that make it quite a bit longer, to actually match?
It probably depends on your team size.
It didn't take that long at all, really.
Okay.
Probably 30 seconds.
And I want to say that there's a checkbox for like only match to same size or go wide. We might have unchecked that because I think I want to say that we were having trouble finding games as a 3-person team with a check.
Okay.
Vinny did all the matching, so I don't actually know. I had a great time doing that.
Yep.
We should definitely play a lot more of that. That game is just a ton of fun.
Yep.
Like the price tag seemed a little steep at first. It was like $30 for this thing that's like, you look at it and go like, this just seems like a mod for another larger game, but no.
Playing it, 30,
playing it, I'm like, this
30 is totally justified.
I will get $30 of enjoyment out of this, no fucking problem.
How much time
I'm enjoying all the gifts so far. It's been after Zelda, that game has been like all the crazy shit that's going on.
Tons of hijinks, just lots of good spectator moments.
Somebody drove a Jeep onto the roof of a car one time, or the roof of a house one time, and got out of there and got into the window and shot everybody inside. It must have been a squad game.
There's a great clip going around of Chris Grant of speedrun fame, not of Polygon, driving a car through a tunnel.
Oh, was that him?
Killing like
I saw that GIF going
running 3 people over.
Yeah.
Shout out to him for getting it fucking done in the tunnels, I guess.
Emergent gameplay.
That game's just it's a ton of fun, but also like super tense. And it's weird, it is. It's this great distillation of some of the stuff that guy has done before when he made mods for H1Z1, some of this other stuff, Arma, whatever, like trying to bring this mode to those games. Like having this just be built for this style of game right out of the gate, it's a lot quicker to get into it. It's a lot easier to understand.
And all of a sudden you go early access, and then you have at least 1 million people playing.
They sold $30 copies of that thing.
Here's 20 million after Steam gets their cut, like $20 million. Like you can finish the game at your leisure.
I believe they have said that they plan to bring it to console when it does kind of get a little further along. Which, definitely.
I don't know that I'd want to play it with a controller.
I think
so precise.
I think if everyone was on a controller, and you make the adjustments that you make when you have a console shooter, I think it could still be fun.
It would work.
But you're right.
It's
it would be a pretty
game,
different kind of game.
It's so high stakes at every moment that like literally the slightest variation in your aim or your movement or anything that you do is going to have like potentially ruinous consequences. Like
you guys were saying yesterday you didn't have range on your weapon. Does it just drop, or does it just like not hit people?
There is bullet drop.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's more just like I think in that. If it was me you're talking about, I had a submachine gun at that point, was the best long range thing I had, and a guy was like probably 100 yards away or something. Okay. It's just a little too, your aim bounces around with some of the weapons, and like you just couldn't.
I haven't played it yet.
Reliably hit a guy at range, but man, it's
a great time. And I mean, obviously, like because these types of games have existed as mods, like there is a huge base of players that have been playing games like this for a good long time. Yeah. It just feels like this is maybe the right place, the right time, and like the right distillation of those concepts into a thing that it's gonna take. I think it will. I don't think that game has peaked. I think it is going to continue to grow and grow.
Or the genre for that matter. Like, I'm super curious to see what the gold rush for this looks like, because like how many clones of this have to be in development?
I thought it had already started, because I've seen games like this.
There's definitely been.
Isn't this the first one that's like commercial and built around this concept from the get go? Like
as opposed to a mod for something else.
They've all been modes in existing games, right?
No, there's the culling.
Yeah.
Okay. That came out. Not that long ago. There's at least one other one that is.
That was the one that I was thinking of, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I took a look at the culling and it didn't do anything for me. This seems like just the gameplay feels right.
Yeah.
And
right enough.
Right enough. And messed up in ways that like in some ways you're like, this is a clear area that needs improvement. In other ways you're like, this is fun bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's a good mix for hijinks. Like I like playing it, especially with you guys yesterday. like I totally get why that game is as big as it is and why it is this like big stream game and all this other stuff because it's
turned back around and ran over him again.
So that's, I mean, you know, I'll pull back the curtain on that for you. I did that for the stream.
Yeah, I figured.
I did that because otherwise the stream was just going to be him slowly dying.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, if we run him over now, then he gets to spectate us.
Can you suspect? You mean he was just watching your streams?
Yeah,
there's no in-game spectator.
In fact,
there is in-game spectator,
but only for your team. So if you're in a team game and you die, you can spectate your teammates. But even then, you can only see their camera movements.
You can't rotate behind them and say there's a guy behind you or anything like that.
Yeah, you could spot for your friends.
But there is still a case of like, you know, like, hey, did you see that guy there?
Yeah.
And like, no, I did not.
Yeah.
There were cases where I didn't see a guy that Vinny saw.
That fucking game that ended with that guard tower.
Yeah, you should have thrown your grenade.
I had a grenade.
I guess is the lesson there.
I was told there was no one there.
My understanding was that there was no one there.
Yeah.
From my view in that room, it looked like there was one guy who was downed.
Yeah.
And
so I
not
think
able
the
to
same
fight
thing
back.
happened to me that happened to you, which is that I went around the guard tower and started taking fire and assumed it was from somebody farther up the field.
So I figured it was coming from behind me.
Okay.
When I was getting shot.
Yeah.
Because that's just the sound. It sounded like distant fire. It didn't sound like guy in this tiny room.
By the time I realized it was the guy right in the tower right in front of me, it was too late.
Yeah.
Your post-action report.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
More PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds to come on Giant Bomb.
I guess so.
Yeah, I think
I would totally play more of that at any time.
Absolutely.
I'll pick it up.
For sure.
We have a community endurance run coming up, like not this weekend, but the weekend after. And I think my slot, I'm going to do like 7 hours. I think it's all going to be playing with community members. So I might pick that up and try to do.
It is.
I'll talk more about that in a bit.
It is a great time.
Yeah.
You would have fun.
I bet I would.
Yeah.
I'm playing from 2 a.m. to 9 a.m. So
wow.
I have something to keep me up.
Are you going to stay up or are you going to get up for that?
It's a Saturday night,
You're
Sunday
up.
morning.
You're up that late anyway. Most nights.
I'm up on Saturday nights pretty late, but yeah, that might be one to take a nap in the Saturday night. Stay up. I don't know. I wanted to pick a weird time slot just to be the anchor for that.
Hang out at the witching hour.
Yeah, I'm gonna put something up on the front page about that sometime soon. But the community endurance run has always been a yearly tradition around here, raising money for Pencils of Promise. All weekends after EPF next week.
Cool.
So I'll be doing a little bit.
Cool.
And then a lot of community members will be too.
Awesome. Playing anything else?
Lately, I played about 10 hours of WoW with a friend of mine on Saturday.
As you do.
Went over to his place and just did a little, not LAN action, I guess. But he doesn't have Wi-Fi, so we were all plugged in. So
what?
I did that for most of Saturday.
Is that like a security thing? He's just like, I don't want the signals to get in my head,
he's
man.
He's an IT person, so I don't think he cares. I think he just like his roommate moved out and he's living in a 2-bedroom apartment in San Francisco by himself.
So it's like
doesn't trust that electromagnetism.
But no, I played
it comes out of cables, man.
And I was really trying to get back into Bloodborne last night. I have the save from like really near the end of the game, but then PSN was down. PSN for me lately has been nothing but your password is incorrect. You've been logged out. PSN is offline. Been a lot of weird troubles getting on there lately. So I didn't actually play that. But apart from that, Wildlands a little bit more Watch Dogs 2 because I got that DLC.
They put out some wacky new DLC for Wildlands. It's got
Narco Road,
like monster
Road.
trucks in it and stuff.
Yeah.
You're like going undercover in the cartel or something.
Yeah, I didn't.
As a monster truck driver?
That's
I don't think
they were just
knowing
hard.
what I know about Wildlands roads. I'm not sure where you take a monster truck in that game.
That's the thing. It's
hills.
like it's an open world game that takes itself so seriously that trying to shoehoorn some wacky hijinks in there.
Well, it doesn't
they
seem like
need,
it was
though.
necessarily wacky.
The
I
radio
don't know.
stuff has always been like a little over the top in that game. The wacky.
I think the radio stuff in that game is exceptionally awful.
it's not great.
Yeah.
But apart from that, just kind of bouncing around. I always do this thing where I have a million games and I kind of get through it at any given time.
Yeah, this first half of the year is kind of extra bad for that.
Yeah, so I'm
There's a
definitely-
ton of great games and they're all like 60 to 80 hours each. So
and I look
Right.
at my huge Steam backlog and I kind of like, what should I click on? And I usually wind up shutting down and reading because I just like
game paralysis,
analysis paralysis or
I
something like
totally
that.
had the same thing.
So yeah, I'm bouncing around. I really do want to get back into. Have this weird thing about getting back to Horizon and beating that, and also Bloodborne. And then I'm looking forward to. I did not play any more Rick and Morty over the weekend, but I think that VR game is really good.
The thing was, yeah.
Exceptionally
I don't know a thing. I didn't
It's
know
kind of a
anything
job
about.
simulator thing.
It is. It's the
It
same
is.
people. So and it's
Oh,
it's, yeah,
right,
it's,
okay.
it's,
Played a little on
it's Alchemy
UPF,
Labs, and it's very much the same type of format,
Yeah.
but very Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
But I didn't know a thing about that show going into that, but I was highly entertained watching.
I think that show's great. I think also some people get a weird idea about it because the fans of that show can be totally insufferable.
Yeah. It's been hard for me to
don't wanna-
like.
I'm not gonna call
engage
anybody
with,
out.
with Rick and Morty.
But yeah.
Because when the little bits of it I have watched have done nothing for me, and then the people that are like trying very much to force it on you,
Yeah.
in a way is just like you are doing this with a like fervor that
It's that
makes
kind
it
of
sound.
Oh, you haven't seen that one?
Exactly, yeah.
Oh.
Like, what kind of life are you leading? It's like, yeah, bummer, I guess. Leave me alone. Stop.
Love that show to death, but yeah, definitely. I read Reddit threads, and all of a sudden it goes off on a tangent. Everybody's making those quote chains from just nothing but TV show quotes. Same thing with the Big Lebowski too. Like I've seen the Big Lebowski. You don't need to tell me every line.
Totally.
From the
I've
script
seen
again.
it numerous times. I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, my man.
It's,
Nothing
yeah,
but
like
that.
I don't need to have a conversation about the Big Lebowski ever again.
Yeah,
That movie has taken its place in history, and it'll be forever remembered.
It's not even conversations that bug me. It's just people literally doing script lines, quoting each other back and forth, and getting like 1,000 upvotes for it.
Oh well, that's.
But Rick and Morty
Reddit's
people,
gonna be Reddit.
I love Rick and Morty. I think it's a fantastic.
You know
show.
what? Like for all the insistence that people have come at us with about that show, about how we have to watch it and stuff, just you and Will like calmly explaining the premise of it to me was by far the thing that has most made me ever want to check it out.
It's a show about very damaged people, and it's got a real darkness to it, but it's also super funny. But no, that game seems really well done. I haven't really had any VR experiences that got me really hyped, but we played a bit on UPF, and I kind of want to go back to it.
It is totally just the job simulator thing of like here are a bunch of gadgets and doohickeys that you can then like combine.
That's kind of what
and
accounting
use.
was.
Yeah,
which
it's
is,
a lot.
The
Yeah.
same.
Well, accounting wasn't in Rick and Morty.
It wasn't.
universe, but-
Yeah.
No.
But accounting, I thought, was like pretty poorly done as someone who tried to play it multiple times. Like just the interactions and stuff
Humor
seemed
fell flat, I think.
like broken. And
I
did not think it was very funny.
I had a weirdly analytic way of playing that game because I was playing it at like a group in front of a group of people.
Sure, yeah.
So my idea, I was trying my best to figure out the thing to do in each room and trying to get through as quickly as I could because I felt some weird need to impress these people. So I just kind of breezed through it in like 5 minutes.
It's like a live quick look.
But no, Rick and Morty seems like a better game than accounting for sure. It's very referential, so if you don't know what a plumbus is and you don't know
I still thought it was funny.
Yeah, the writing
without having a clue about the show.
Rick and Morty had the season 3 premiere on April. I guess you guys didn't hear about it, but they had a link like season 4 premiere streaming now, and it went to a Adult Swim / April Fool's thing. But then it wound up it actually was streaming. You just had to click on it and let it rotate. So a lot of people got really pissed off. But
Nice.
nice. No, that's my takeaway from Rick and Morty. I'm not. People are evangelical about stuff like that, and I think it puts people off. But I recommend at least giving a couple episodes a try.
Here's a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that the popularity of The Big Lebowski and the way it is constantly quoted has negatively impacted the career of the Eagles?
Oh man.
Oh, I don't know.
No, those guys sell out stadiums still.
I mean, not to say that like, oh, the Eagles are done because that, but like, speaking for myself,
that's what I think about when I think about the
when
Eagles.
the Eagles come on, I do feel this instinctive need to turn it the fuck off. And I feel largely indifferent about the Eagles. But there is now this knee-jerk reaction baked into my fucking soul at some point where
I hate the fucking Eagles, man.
I wonder if that has how widely that has spread.
When you say the Big Lebowski to me, like the Eagles aren't even in the top 10 of things that I think of that are associated with it.
I think that's everyone is going to have their own 10 things, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on just how. I drank a lot of White Russians before that movie got popular, and
it's one of those things.
So
where
I don't know what the fuck.
It's one of those weird anti-things where something gets popular and people start latching onto it because it shows up in a movie or something like that, and then you feel like I was the OG about this, and you get a little defensive about how.
And that's
for
fans,
weird,
everything.
dumb
like,
things.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is. Like people get super.
It makes no sense
about their shit, and
want
it's
people
dumb.
to like what I like.
Yeah,
but,
it is dumb, but it is like a very human reaction.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't know
to that stuff. For me, the Rick and Morty thing was based a little bit more in like people recommended it, and I went and sought out some of it and watched like some chunks of it. And was just like, ooh boy.
I've done that for Parks and Rec, and I watched 5 episodes. I also Arrested Development. I watched like 5 episodes. I kind of like,
My wife.
I don't mean to talk shit about it.
My
but
wife is watching through Parks and Rec right now, and hearing it from another room or hearing it like there are bits of it, and we're like, man, that's That's some pretty funny shit over there.
Parks and Rec
yeah.
Parks and Rec's pretty good.
Well, I watched the first like 10 minutes of those new Mystery Science Theaters on Netflix, and I thought that was shit. Like, I thought it was really terrible.
Yeah.
And then I watched the same stuff with my girlfriend, and she was laughing, so it was like a little easier to get into. But
my understanding is that the second episode of that is where it picks
I've
up.
heard
the first one's a little rough.
it was definitely.
But
rough.
for me, like I am gonna have to watch those at some point,
Sure.
and seeing like that's a case where like seeing people being really positive about the Mystery Science Theater stuff, has made me want to watch it because it was hard for me to imagine a world in which that was anything other than terrible. Because I didn't watch all of the Mike years, and nothing against Mike. He's no, other than that, he is no Joel. But I kind of burned out on it midway through Mike's run. So the idea of like, oh, now there's going to be some totally other people, like, I'd stopped a while. I'm good.
You were also talking earlier about some things have to be kind of lo-fi, and then seeing the stuff in HD with like, it's not like they spend a huge amount of money on those sets or anything like that, but just that change and like a little better quality of the
a little more slick, a little less Minnesota.
Yeah, a little. That is also kind of a little rougher to get into too. Like I go back, I have most of those episodes on my computer, and a lot of those old, they're rough, like visually and everything else. So.
It's a fucking mess. But that's part of the charm, I think, in a lot of it. It's
I feel like I'm being overly negative here. I do need to give them all more whirl, but this is also I mean,
I'm gonna watch them. Just like I said, like people who were similarly skeptical of them have said like actually it came out way fucking better than you would think.
It could have been absolutely terrible. And I actually fired it up over the weekend as well. And man, I hesitated press and play on that because I did not want my
don't want to sully the memories.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I like Felicia Day. I like Patton Oswalt stuff. But
did they just go out and get 1 million people for this?
Not a million.
More like 5.
Oh, okay.
And they still make cameos from some of the older characters and stuff. They show up every now and again.
But Servo and Crow have different voices.
Different voices, but I forget who said it, but someone said like that the people doing the voices are at least trying to sound like
in Crow's
the Joel era.
Except for Gypsy. Gypsy is like that was a weird.
It's a hard voice to do.
Well, no, it's totally talking like in a regular voice. It's not even that weird high pitched thing.
What?
Yeah, I disagree with that choice.
Well, I'm against
I
that.
feel like I'm sounding really negative.
Right,
I need to go back and give
burn
more
that thing. I will check that out at some point. I also I bought a DVD copy of Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just Mitchell.
Just Mitchell.
No commentary
track
the original
over it?
Mitchell. Because I wanted to see all of it.
Okay.
Not the cut up version. I wanted to see raw, unfucking cut, unadulterated Mitchell.
Sweaty Texan.
Yeah. It's a hard fucking movie to watch.
Yeah. A lot of those movies are, even with the treatment they give them.
Yeah. I actually really want to find a lot of the Sandy Frank movies. A lot of the full length ones are on YouTube, which you can go watch them that way, I guess. But like a lot of like the Fugitive Alien and Time of the Apes and just some of that stuff from around that era, that season. Like I want to see the original full versions of those things just for. I don't know why.
My favorite story about Mitchell is that Joe Don Baker apparently really mad that those movies wound up on MST3K, and he was like really pissed about it. But to get it back to games, though, have you ever seen the VHS Play at Home Mystery Science 3000? It was like Assignment Venezuela.
Oh no!
I have to give that to you. It's just a cut of all the scenes from the Play at Home VHS movie back to back.
Oh, okay.
But
gotcha.
It is some like oil company. A movie they gave to like wives who were moving to go to Ecuador to be with their oil baron husbands.
Wow.
And it's like, you're going to live in Ecuador now or Venezuela. And it is just from the 50s too. It is.
Oh, that's
man.
Wow.
I don't even know.
Don't bother tipping. They get paid by the company. Like, oh, great.
That sounds pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Full circle. Should bring that in.
Yeah. That's the game I want to play.
Yeah.
That's my gaming.
Okay.
Stuff. That's my segment. Sorry.
All right then.
Did
you play anything else while you were
I've played a bunch of stuff. So I brought my Switch with me and downloaded Mario Kart 8 from a hotel Wi-Fi, which worked out surprisingly well.
Hear good things about that.
Do you like Mario Kart?
Double dash.
There you go.
It's okay.
A lot of people do. A lot of people
do. This is this. I feel the same way about this as I've felt about the limited time I spent with Mario Kart 8.
Sure.
Well, this one's not going to change anything.
Oh yeah, no, it's
I don't know. I feel
it's beautiful.
I get into like every fourth Mario Kart that comes out, and I'm not due yet.
Yeah, I think it looks great.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah, okay. It just the image quality and just the frame rate and all of those stuff. Like it's just a really
and that's in the
very
handheld
colorful.
Mode. Have you tried it in
I've
the
not tried it on
console mode?
television.
Okay, I'm curious about that.
So that caveat, I guess.
The guy runs at 1080. I read the dumb graphical analysis because I do things like that.
Yeah. Puyo Puyo Tetris is now out.
Yeah.
That quick looks up on the site if you want to see some of that. That's just a great fucking puzzle game. Because
it's a strange game.
You can just play some Tetris if you want.
Yeah.
You can just play some Puyo Puyo if you want.
Yep.
Or you can mix the two together at the same time in a couple of different modes
Bafflingly
that are just fucking wild.
Incomprehensible way.
Yeah.
How's that story mode treating you?
I have not played too much more of it. I've mostly just been like banging out some Tetris.
Get in, get out.
Yeah,
that
story mode seemed like it might be kind of hard to slog through after a while.
It's if you want to get 3 stars and everything, yeah, it probably at some point gets to be more annoying than anything. But the fact that they wrote a story, the fact they translated the story and revoiced it and all this other stuff, like the localization, they did way more work to it than I would have anticipated, which is like kind of fun. Again, that game is out in weird ways where it's like it's physical only on PS4, it's physical and digital on Switch, but the physical version is $10 more. Yeah. And then the Xbox One version did not make it to the US. So if you want to play that one, you still have to get the Japanese version.
And isn't like the physical version like only in specific retailers? Like I saw like an ad at like Target.
They are billing it as some kind of like special version.
Oh right, it comes with like a keychain or something. Yeah.
So you might infer that they are not going to press up 1 billion copies of that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a tremendous puzzle game. And the online works pretty well if you want to get fucking stomped at either of those games.
Yeah. Seems like it does cross-region matching.
Yeah.
From the looks of it.
Yeah. So. I don't think that they're patching the English back into the Japanese version, which, why would they? But we got some questions because, we covered the Japanese version. Some people imported it back then.
Right.
When it came out there. So, yeah, doesn't look like that's going to be an option. Gosh, what else? I played a little more Flint Hook.
Yeah. I've played a bit of that.
Yeah.
How far in are you?
I beat the first boss.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I played some of the second world and didn't get too far.
I like the way that game moves.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of roguelike, pixel arty kind of thing, but you have a grappling hook, and each room has just a ton of hooks, and you can use that to kind of get around fast. But I guess I just wish that it was a little bit more of a platformer and a little less of these contained like roguelike style rooms. Yeah. Because like it has this kind of rogue legacy style to the map of like, you're going to get these bigger rooms and
I mean it's a bunch of prefab rooms.
Yeah. Stacked on
randomly bolted onto each other. So so it's different every time, but each room is kind of hand built and you start seeing rooms repeat after a while.
Definitely. But it feels like the movement is I think the movement feels great. Like the hook feels awesome.
Yeah. I feel like about 90% of the time I'm putting the hook where I want to. Like
yeah.
Every once in a while, because you also use the hook to go through a door to another room. Like once in a while, I will accidentally exit a room or
there are some bosses where you need, or some enemies that you need to use the hook on them to pop a shield or something like that. And sometimes that can get a little sideways, but usually it's pretty good.
Yeah. And to clarify, like the hook is kind of like a zip line. Like you
zip to it
as opposed to like swinging.
So it's not a swing hook. It's more of
like a slingshot.
Yeah. So you kind of can zip to a spot and let go and keep going in that direction. So you kind of propel yourself that way. And that's a fun, good mechanic, but it feels like you just need more open space. Like I want to get going. I want to just fucking zip across a whole room.
Oh, I see.
Like a whole like stretch, like a whole level or something. Just zipping from one to the next because that feels so good.
Like
but
a Super
because
Metroid
it's
size
room. But because it is all these like Metroidish kind of like tubes that lead from one room to the next, like you never really get the momentum that you want to get.
Right.
And that's kind of a bummer, I guess.
I hate to invoke the Metroidvania, but I almost would rather see a game with these mechanics, but with bigger spaces and also just more hand designed kind of progression to go through.
The kind of rogue-like nature of it, the daily run, the weekly run, they've got all that stuff in there, and that's fine. But I beat that kind of first area, and it's like, okay, now you got a new bounty, a new area, and I started it, and I was like, this isn't.
Well, the other thing is, it is just kind of punishingly hard.
It's a difficult fucking game. Yeah.
Like it's much like Rogue Legacy. It is built to play over and over and continue upgrading your health and stuff like that, and make it easier on yourself. But like at a certain point, you kind of hit a wall.
Where
it's like I have died 3 times on unsuccessful runs. I'm just going to stop now.
Yeah.
I still never beat Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, I've gotten to the second boss both times I've played that game on different
the big
platforms.
eyeball, right?
Yes.
And it spawns in all the little eyeballs.
I think it's the giant skull
ghosts.
is the second
Yeah,
boss.
You can kind of go in whatever order, I thought, right?
Oh, you can, but
Can
there's definitely a difficulty progression.
Yeah, like
yeah,
it's
there's a
kind of
recommended
too
order,
hard.
but
Yeah.
I tried it multiple times.
I think eyeball is the first boss and the skull is the second.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, both times I've played that game, I've left off there, and it's just like, okay, I've got my
I finished
Vita.
it. Really enjoyed Rogue Legacy.
Yeah, it's a great game.
I was mostly playing on the Vita, and the controls are a little squirrely because it's such a small D-pad, and the analog stick was also.
Those guys are making a new game finally.
Cool.
I saw it like over somebody's shoulder at GDC. It's some kind of multiplayer.
Imagine you with like a
game
trench coat on, like popping up.
I didn't.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What's going on over here?
The name escapes me, but it is happening.
Cool. Yeah. So I played some of that. There's a game out on the Switch in Japan, called Kamiko.
I've seen some screenshots of this. I saw some like Hyper Light Drifter style.
It's that camera
art style.
perspective.
It looked.
for
I
sure.
saw some. It looked like that, but like more 8-bit.
It's a
basically.
pixel art style,
more
like, yeah.
more primitive than Hyper Light Drifter.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I kind of beat the first level and kind of got into the second area a little bit. And so there's 3 characters to choose from. I chose one that throws a shield like a boomerang. So I'm kind of like flinging this out and taking care of enemies. The enemies drop a currency that you use to activate pillars. And when you activate all the pillars, you can kind of move on to the next level. So there's some kind of light puzzle solving. Some areas where you're like, oh, you got to find an orb and bring it to a spot to activate something. But there's a bunch of monsters that are constantly respawning. So, you kind of like, you can't set the orb down. And if you get hit, you drop the orb. So you kind of have to like weave your way through these, almost like bullet hellish style of, but it's enemies, not bullets. And kind of weave your way through some of that stuff. Kind of some stuff that's like a little well hidden, and I don't know. It's interesting. We're going to do some video with it because
I want to see it in action.
It is interesting, but I don't know. I'm still kind of formulating my thoughts on it, I guess.
I am starved for Switch stuff.
I was just going to say, I feel like a lot of little indie games are getting a big lift out of being on the Switch right now.
For sure, yeah.
Like, I've seen so many people talking about that Wonder Boy remake that I feel like that game would have completely flown under the radar if it hadn't come out on the Switch.
Yeah, I want to play that.
Not to say anything bad about it. Like, it looks great, but like, just one person after another seems to have bought it because they are dying for new games.
I want to play that just,
on the Switch.
and I primarily want to play it because I didn't play it when it first came out. I had no idea that Wonder Boy game was that involved. Like, I think about Wonder Boy as a reskin of Adventure Island because that's what the first one was.
Like just a simple side scroller left to right,
or
not a lot of
vice versa. I think Wonder Boy first, and I forget what the actual order is. But yes, and so you think about it as just like a basic platformer, but that thing is such a
much more involved adventure type thing.
And
that art is fucking incredible. Like, it's
really
some
great.
of the best looking kind of hand painted like remake art I think I've seen.
And also, no one does remakes of Master System games.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool to see that. Like someone like paying close attention to that platform that I owned and didn't know anyone else that owned one. And
some of the attention to detail in that thing is just crazy. Like the fact that all the old passwords work.
Right.
And just like tiny little details and like dialogue and like background.
Yeah.
art
They
and
came
stuff
through
like
with
that.
it. And
Like,
I came away from that super impressed.
Yeah.
So I do want to look at that at some point. Someone should do that exact treatment to Zillion. Which was another kind of Metroid-ish.
I've never played that, but I remember looking at that in magazines.
Zillion, an anime game.
Yes.
But I did not. I didn't even know it was an anime game when that thing came out. Because it was like, here's this thing on the Master System where the guy shoots a gun that looks like the gun that came with the Master System. That's cool. But it turns out that the anime was
that is one
used to try to promote the light phaser for the Master System.
When you get down to it, what was that thing called? Did it have a name?
It was a light phaser.
The light phaser?
Yeah, I think that was what
called
it was.
Synergy, Brad.
Such a better name than the Zapper.
Yeah, the Zapper.
Come on. But yeah, that Master System light gun is one 80s ass anime pistol.
Oh, it's fucking sweet,
Cyberpunk
man.
pistol.
I still have mine. It's
awesome.
It
looks cool.
Yeah, and the click on it it's got a really short throw on the trigger. It just feels good.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Safari Hunt with that fucking thing.
Yeah, Safari Hunt.
Yeah. I want to say that's pretty much. Marvel Heroes Omega. Yeah. That's in closed beta on console.
Beta.
You can buy your way into it. I think.
Damn
is what
right
it
you
is.
can.
Okay. I was wondering how. Yeah,
they're selling founders packs.
People were getting into that.
It's a free to play game. It is a console version of Marvel Heroes, which has been on the PC for years.
Like 3 years now or something.
Yeah.
But it is not a 1-to-1 port of it. It's a lot of this. It's mostly the same content. It's a lot of the same assets. Right now, it's fewer characters and fewer kind of options and stuff like that.
And I wonder if it's going to stay that way. Like it's a significant change as far as like the character roster and stuff. Not like different characters, but like there's half as many characters available in Omega than there is.
And I think that's I don't think they're planning on having it be 1-to-1 with the PC stuff. I think it's that leaves them a ton to add to this audience who have never seen it. Never seen it before.
Got to give people reason to keep coming back.
And it's open beta. They can add more stuff. But like I'm seeing characters on like the the main screen that are not in the game yet.
Yeah.
So.
So that's their model. Is it's free. You can level any character to level 10,
which is nice.
For free. So you can at least try them out for a while.
That's actually what I did. Like most of my weekend is like I got to find a main man. I got to try out all these characters. I got to try out the 4th level power. I just went. I spent a ton of time just doing that and trying out different characters. That's a nice bonus.
So they added controller support to the PC version of Marvel Heroes a while ago, and
also simplified it a lot too. Like that was the thing that everybody's bitching.
I feel like some of the public opinion on that game has maybe turned a little bit because they made
look at the Steam reviews. Definitely,
they've made some changes to a lot of the systems around it. But honestly, like a lot of the systems they bolted onto it over the years were just bolted on and confusing in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of the stuff they did with they had this what I want to say it was called the Omega system, but it was like these end game points that you were accruing that you could put into bonuses that worked across all characters and all this different, or maybe it was just per character, but the points anyway.
It takes a gutsy developer to WoW has done this multiple times where this thing that everybody you have 100 talents, now we're gonna have you get 10.
Right.
You have to there's a difference between simplifying for good reasons and dumbing down.
Right.
People like to say a bunch.
So they simplified the tech tree and how you earn powers in the PC version of that game significantly. Yeah. Which is fine. It took me a while to get. I looked at the change they made, and at first it was like, this is confusing as hell. But once I dug into it, I was like, actually, this might be a little bit better for new players coming in. And so the system in the console game is, maybe it is pretty similar now that I think about it. But you are just kind of unlocking these powers one by one. You're not spending points. You're just hitting a level and unlocking that ability, and then you get to map it on the controller wherever you want. They've got all 4 face buttons and then a hold L2 or R2 and use all 4 face buttons again for a shifted for a total of 8 abilities, which you still get more than that. And I think that's the stuff that's like a little. I don't think that game maps well to a console controller. At least I felt the PC version really didn't. And this one being built from the ground up or being shoehorned from the ground up onto a console controller. I think they've done a little bit better with the UI and some of the stuff here than they did when they first put controller stuff in the PC.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
Diablo 3 is so good though. How did they not just do that?
Well, Diablo 3 was really weird.
They do most of that
thing because when Diablo 3 launched, they only gave you 6 skills at a time to use, and everybody was like, in Diablo 2, you had a lot. I had to rebind other keys to get all the way and stuff. Yeah. So when they said you're gonna have 6 at a time, you can change them out in town, whatever. It was a lot of people like, oh, you guys are bringing this console at some point, right? But they took 3 years to do that. And apparently, by all accounts, Diablo 3 on console is fantastic.
It's great. It is. Yeah, it's an awesome version of the game. And the only thing they really added other than direct control is an ability to roll with the right stick, which kind of just lets you cheat a little bit on the mobility stuff because you can't quite micro your way around with the mouse, with a controller the same way you can with a mouse.
Roll through barrels real good.
Yeah, you roll the fuck through some barrels. That's a lot of fun.
Oh my god.
So I think the reason why it ends up being not as good as Diablo in some cases, which is a weird comparison, especially for a game that's in beta.
It's the same kind of isometric.
But it is definitely an action RPG. Sure. But the difference is that this one is a lot more server based, and there are a lot more areas that have a ton of people in them. So that actually sort of sucks in a way.
It's rough
because you hit a button to pick something up and it takes time because it has to hit a server and come back, or or just everything takes a little more time than it should because it's hitting a server somewhere.
Laggy.
Yeah,
it feels like it. And I'm even getting frame rate issues.
And
it's not running.
They've slapped the big beta tag on it.
Sure,
they've got work to do. I think they know that. But yeah, it's something that I think is harder to stand for on consoles because it's still relatively recent that these kind of server-based games showed up on consoles at all. Games that you think about in terms of like an MMO or something like that is gonna do those kind of checks every time you pick up an item or every time you do something.
Taking advantage of the cloud.
Yes, cloud power.
So I'm not getting that lag if I'm in like a private instance kind of area.
Yeah, that stuff's fine.
That
but yeah,
stuff
it's like
seems
the wider, the more public areas like definitely don't run. They don't run right, and sometimes they don't run right on PC, and then because that's. But I feel like on the PC you expect it a lot more because there are so many more games like that where it still feels relatively new to console to me. So it just feels. It feels weird to see a console game that performs in that way because you think about it in terms of just like, I'd fire this game up, hit this button, shoot, go, run, do this. And then when it doesn't do that because it is this larger, kind of more online focused thing, that can get frustrating.
So I fired up and reinstalled the PC version just to have a little parity and check. I'm like, maybe this is how it ran on the PC. Totally not. Like it runs pretty damn well.
There have been rough patches on the PC as well. Rough periods of time, I should say.
There's definitely areas in which you get to, and there's 50 people all fighting one thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
and I can't imagine how that's going to be like on
so
console.
I think that they segregate those off into instance areas. Like so there are some content changes here. It's not just like this 1-to-1 port of the PC game.
Yeah.
Because like to be fair, I have not played a ton of the PC game recently, so they're always making changes there. So maybe it's like this now, but there was in the public areas sometimes it'll just be like, oh, Rhino is running around fucking shit up, or Venom or whatever, and so every character in the zone just runs over and starts fucking pouncing on him and fucking his shit up. I fought Rhino and it was a separate instanced area that I went into. So like it was a door you walked through basically, or that you buttoned into, and it had a load, and then loaded into this much smaller private area where I did that fight.
I experienced that, but I also experienced like the public kind of event as well.
So
like there was an area that was like on fire, and
okay.
like a bunch of gang members were there, so you'd have to run over, and like everybody would crowd to that particular spot, and it got crazy.
I've done some pretty interesting stuff with the world boss kind of thing, because there are a lot of world bosses on this new zone. They start with like 50 million health, but as soon as somebody else tags it in, it doubles, but they have the same amount of their health bar left. So if you've already done 20% damage, it'll go to 100 million, but they only have 80 million left, and that'll go up for a while as more people tag in. They also added a quest for like the big world bosses, like you need 40 people to beat. They have a little automatically join a group. It'll pop open like, hey, these tanks and healers, and you pop in. Half the time it's already half dead. It's made it a lot easier to go through those kind of world bosses.
Yeah.
It's still performance-wise. I mean, I talk about WoW every time I'm on here, but they've done so much. I want a book just about their server work that they've done over the last like 14 years, because that game is. I actually got a login queue pop up. I was number 1 in line for the first time in years.
Wow.
Have you ever thought about springing for one of those old shards?
I mean,
yeah, they sell the
old server blades.
Oh no,
the rack mount stuff.
I love that game. That's fucking nerdy.
Yeah, I think they're framed, or they're in like some kind of like acrylic case or something.
They
like
sell them
straight up.
They auction them off for charity or something now and then. I think.
Yeah, dude, it's just like, here is the board from Nerzul or whatever.
I love WoW.
Hey, this is the thing that I spent like 5,000 hours playing on.
No, I love WoW, but I'm not that passionate about it. I'm not like didn't get married, didn't really met on anything like that. So, but no, that. Finding a way to do that kind of stuff, like spontaneous world boss stuff on a console with the bandwidth and other limitations they have, must be an interesting challenge. It sounds like they're not. I mean, maybe they're working all that stuff out. It's complicated. That game is printing money for whoever is developing, I'm sure.
I wonder, because the public sentiment around Marvel Heroes on PC has waxed and waned. Yeah. Like it launched a little rough, and then they kind of slapped a year on the end of it.
Yeah, it was when was it the 2015, 16? Is that
16 now?
Is that the okay?
They have built-in one of the best built-in marketing tools in all those movies that are coming out, and they definitely
they capitalize on that stuff where it's like, okay, now we're putting out the Deadpool, or they sell so many costumes and skins and shit like that
on the PC version.
On the PC version, yeah. On this one, they've got a smaller subset of that content, but there's no reason to believe, there are no reason to think they wouldn't do the same thing there, because that's their whole strategy.
That kind of is the Marvel video game. I know they're doing the Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy, but in terms of Marvel games,
the Spider-Man game that Sony Insomniac's doing. There's the Marvel Puzzle Quest on phones.
I think my girlfriend still plays that a bunch.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the old saturation where every Wolverine movie got its own video game tie-in, it seems like they've kind of pulled away from that and are being a little more focused about it.
Well, for the longest time, I mean, when they had Infinity, they could put all the Marvel characters or most of the Marvel characters into that and kind of have some Marvel play sets and stuff like that too. So, they had all these outlets for it that it seems like maybe they don't have anymore.
Is Infinity 100% unplayable now? I saw that the servers went down recently.
The servers,
but I don't know. I don't know what that locks out exactly.
It locks out your ability to download other people's toy boxes, which are their created worlds.
Okay.
I think is what the servers do
so
there.
that's not,
so
I mean,
you might not be able to play actual online multiplayer anymore either.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't tried, but
okay.
But,
well, that kind of sucks, but okay. So all the single player stuff is more or less still there.
Yeah, which that's.
I have people sunk in hundreds of dollars into figures
yeah,
that better be able to still play that stuff.
Right. That stuff is still a bummer with the way that went down, because I mean they took the servers down relatively quickly, and I admit maybe they weren't getting used that much. I don't actually know what the numbers were, but yeah, that's. Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty much everything.
Okay.
I've been playing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of it. I feel like I'm missing something, but I played some Black Ops 2.
Nice.
That came to backwards compatibility.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, Black Ops 2. And then you know what? It's a pretty fucking good Call of Duty game.
I remember.
It's like one of the last just regular ass Call of Duty games
before things start getting weird.
Yeah.
That might have been the last one I played.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I used to buy them on sale after they came out a year after, because nobody's going to buy the year-old Call of Duty. I just play for the single player.
Yeah.
It's weird because you're playing an Xbox 360 game, and the Xbox 360 is so compromised, and specifically with Call of Duty in mind, there are people running hacked lobbies that do all kinds of weird shit. And I did not encounter any of that in my time with the game on Xbox One, but I wonder if you could join a lobby that would reset your progress back to level 1 or fuck you over on XP, or because people do weird shit. I don't know. Yeah.
You're able to get games pretty easily?
Totally.
Yeah. Wow.
Is that a separate purchasable thing now?
Yeah, you can buy it. I think it was it's one of those cases where I think the game was $20, but if you wanted the season pass to get all the DLC maps, that was then another 30 or 40 or something stupid
For
like that.
Reissue of Black Ops 2?
It's not even it's just a digital download of the. It's not. It is the Xbox 360 game. It's just backwards compatible. So if you have the disc, you can just put it in and play.
Sure.
And you could probably find that for a lot cheaper than $20. I bet these days.
All right.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, who feels strongly about Full Throttle here?
I feel pretty strongly.
You said you do?
I absolutely love that game.
Yeah. Have you played any more?
No, I have not.
I'm like
I've been busy with other stuff.
Like halfway through the remaster.
Okay.
Which is my first time playing Full Throttle.
That's great.
I have not played it
ever.
No.
Oh wow!
I
thought
thought
you had done all of those LucasArts games.
Yeah, no, those late ones, the Grim Fandangos of the world and stuff. It was not.
It was like that one, Grim Fandango, and like maybe Monkey Island 3. I guess for like
I was
the
not
last
playing
ones.
a ton of PC games around that time that were not Quake.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at.
Yeah.
To be honest.
97. That was 97, 98. That was a big quick years. All college for me.
Yeah, like I was working in the console reviews business, so I did not have a business reason to play PC games, and so in my spare time, I mostly played PC games, but it was Quake.
Yes. Yeah.
And occasionally UT.
That's largely why I also didn't play Full Throttle back then, but I totally get why that thing was so revered in its time.
Oh, good.
Because it's like,
I mean, what's standing out to you? Like,
like that thing. I mean,
it ages, but
I'm like shocked at how often I'm actually going back to the old graphics just to kind of marvel at, like, because I played a bunch of VGA adventure games back then, and I was like, holy shit, I see why people lost their minds over this thing. Because like its ambitions toward being like kind of an animated film or like for what that genre was doing at that time, like it's
definitely one of the most cinematic endeavors at that time.
Yeah, like the Idle Thumbs guys talked a lot about that last weekend, but I totally get what they were saying. Like just camera cuts and weird angles and like just like a level of animation that you totally were not seeing out of like the Sierra stuff at that time. Like it's pretty impressive. But that motorcycle combat, holy shit.
Oh, it's rough, right?
Oh my
I think they make it easier after you lose like 3 or 4 times.
Oh my God.
I
finally gave up and looked it up, and it was like, okay, if you use the fertilizer on the chainsaw lady, that's the trigger where you get the chainsaw, and then it gets easier from there. But like, man,
that sounds like an adventure game.
Right, yeah.
Well, this is specifically action. In a Scum game.
Yeah.
Like they are trying to bend Scum in a way that I don't think it was made to be bent.
If you're not familiar, that is a name of the engine.
That's like the old LucasArts adventure game engine.
Scummy.
Like it is so clearly like trying to do things that engine is not really does not seem like it was made for.
Yeah, well, I mean, even just there was I don't know, like I didn't play any like when I think of the Scum engine games that I love, they're the ones that have all the words on screen.
Yeah.
Maniac Mansion.
So yeah, it is Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah, this one is past that.
Stuff like that. The stuff that's past that. Like I just.
This one is only 4 actions, and they're all not quite context sensitive, but yeah, it's only like look, talk, like grab and kick. Those are the only interactions.
Yeah,
all the time.
That stuff kind of came after I was kind of done with the genre. And I want to say that, like, just looking at that UI and just looking at the reduction in options, that's what it felt like from the outside looking in. I think that, that it's probably actually a smart change they made.
Yeah.
But from from coming to it from loving those older games, there was this feeling I remember at the time of going like, they're just like making this super simple. Like, what are they even doing?
Yeah.
But that's a dumb view, because obviously there's still all the weird puzzles to solve. And all
yes, and it's got some of that for sure.
Trying to pick push or pull door is that's a dumb.
Yeah. Yes.
They were right to fix it.
Yes. There's a reason that genre went away, I think.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the adventure game, the new boom, the Telltale boom of that, I am firmly in that camp again of just like, there's a reason these games went away the first time, and like,
and those aren't even
why.
Those aren't even the obtuse like inventory,
like
crazy inventory type of adventure games.
Like has Telltale even fixed its engine yet?
I think they're on the same tech still.
Janky as hell around the edges. Like this.
Some people love those games.
They do super well. But
I was not. I'm not. I admire what they've brought back.
Yes,
not my.
It's cool that there's an audience for it again. If anything, like and but yeah, like I was done once they did that season of Sam and Max, and I was like, oh, awesome, new Sam and Max. Right. That's the best. Great.
Yep.
I'm like, all right, cool.
Got your fill.
Yeah.
Like Walking Dead season 1 was that for me.
Well, kind of once they hit upon the Walking Dead stuff, and put their action into that thing, and some of their attempts at action in that engine, it was just like, I don't want anything to do with any of this.
So not great.
I'm a real bad min-maxer. Like I want to have the best possible outcome, and I will go back and reload saves to get that to happen in RPGs. But so that's why the idea of going through that game and having all the branching, it just had maybe anxious, like in a way that I don't have a lot of anxiety problems. But and I know people are probably yelling at me right now when they're hearing this, but I the way those games are fundamentally made is just like a 10 degrees off from what I want, and it made it really difficult to get onto that train. But I know people love them.
Yeah. Anyway, like it's a good remaster. It's right up there with the other stuff they've done. It's a neat little glimpse at history, but
I'm so happy it's here.
It's a great excuse to finally play that game 22 years later for me.
Who's developing that?
Double Fine has done all their remasters in house, and now they don't have any more. Like that's it. That's like all of Tim Schafer's games have been remastered now. So
that was a LucasArts
they're
game,
done,
right?
Yeah.
So LucasArts is owned by Disney now. All their property and everything.
I think that's part of how these remasters came back around, was because when the catalog went to Disney, there were people there who liked games to a certain extent, and kind of that helped make those deals happen. I think.
It really makes
my understanding, but I don't know.
Like it makes me wonder, because they put out they did Grim Fandango and then Day of the Tentacle, and now this, like one a year.
Yeah,
they've got this like pipeline in place. It makes me wonder if they would be willing to go out and get non Tim Schafer LucasArts games and do the same treatment.
I wonder.
Like,
are they
Star
gonna
Wars
go,
1313.
No. I mean, I'm talking about like those. Like, are they going to do a Loom remaster or like the Dig or something?
I would love. I mean.
Or Sam and Max would be cool.
Sam and Max would be cool.
But then, you got to go get.
You could play Car Bomb.
What's the Sam and Max guy's name?
Not
Purcell.
Steve Purcell.
Steve Purcell, right? Yeah, like you have to go get people like that involved, I assume. To
probably,
do that.
I mean, maybe if they've got that pipeline up and running, then like maybe that makes sense.
They've clearly got like in-house like SCUM interpreter tech built. Like that could.
I would also like to see a new Maniac Mansion.
Like a new one?
Yeah. Why not do a third game?
Yeah, sure.
The sense of humor still holds up for the most part.
Well, I don't know who would do that. I mean, they're making Psychonauts 2 now. So.
Oh, right.
Somebody else they'd have to nominate someone. Or
who did
Ron Gilbert just shipped a game. Maybe he would want to come back finally.
Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway.
I mean,
what about Thimbleweed?
I need to play Thimbleweed also. Yeah.
Double Fine does a lot of publishing now too. Like they published everything, and Nog is them.
Right.
So maybe someone else develops something. They put it out. Yeah.
We shall see. But first, we are going to take a break. Jason's
making them
getting
break
desperate.
motion.
All right,
break.
We'll be right back. Jason, I hear tell you got a little more game stuff before we move on.
Yeah, I do. We talked a little bit about Marvel Heroes Omega. I've been really excited for the console version of this because they announced couch co-op, which I think is really cool, especially for like a free-to-play game. I didn't get a chance to really try that out, but I don't know, the console stuff, like the commands, like it feels pretty good. Like I said, it's not running that well, but we'll see how that shakes up. Like if you want in on the beta access right now, they get a bunch of founders packs ranging anywhere from like $16, $17 all the way up to like $50 or something like that. And what really sucks is like there's a couple characters and skins that are like completely locked behind. You need to buy all 5 of these founders packs
Nice.
for like well over $100, like all together, in order to get that stuff.
But it's the
That's
best
not even
value.
shocking to me anymore. In a
Yeah,
free
I
play. I thought
suppose.
you were going to go up like 400 because that's kind of the mobile stuff that I
Well,
see.
they'll get
good.
there with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just it's in beta now, so they don't have that much to sell.
Let me tell you about a free-to-play game that does it right, and that's Clicker Heroes
Yeah,
on the PS4.
yeah,
They dole out the currency, the paid currency.
Mhm.
Did you played it on the PC a bunch?
I did. I played a little on PS4 as well.
Yeah, like the rubies are the thing that you buy
Yeah.
with money, and they drop those things constantly.
Oh, you want to talk about the paid currency dropping in a free-to-play game?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Wiz Khalifa's weed
Oh
farm.
no! Saw some articles going out.
Is that what you were playing on the break?
around about that?
Yeah, I've got. Okay.
I hear it's bad.
I've got 8 different strains going right now. You
hear
have
it's very
plots for up
bad.
to 9 strains. Do we have separate section music for the Wiz Khalifa's weed farm? Do you have? We don't have music for that. Okay, all right.
Are these
well.
real strains or like made up names?
Well, you tell me. I don't know. I'm not a cop, man. What are they? We have some California Kush,
I think that's real.
Skywalker OG,
No way.
Jack Herrera.
Are these
Herrera?
these are copyrighted though? The real name of the strains are copyrighted, so they might
Some
not be
are,
able to-
some aren't.
Okay.
I bet.
Purple Dream?
Cookies,
Purple Dream?
Blue Dream,
No, I'm thinking if the one I heard of was actually that. I think it might be different.
Granddaddy Purple,
Blue Dream is a real one.
Okay.
Gorilla Glue.
That is a glue.
I've never tried smoking.
We have
that.
Gorilla Glue in my house, and it's not weed.
Well,
It's actual glue.
you should try smoking that glue. Don't, if people at home, don't try smoking the glue. Brad, if you want to smoke the glue, that's your business.
okay.
And jet fuel.
Nice.
There are it looks like there are over 100 strains to unlock. And occasionally when I level
Is
up,
that thing just Farmville?
yeah, when I rub the weed, I get money.
I think that's how it works.
And then whenever enough stars come out, Wiz Khalifa comes out and says, "Good shit, homie." And then there's the sound of a lighter being flicked multiple times. Oh, I just leveled up. Damn, I wish I had my phone on. I'm now level 25 in the weed game. And then there's a lighter flicking, which makes me think that like Wiz should get a better lighter because he's having trouble keeping it lit from the sounds of it.
I thought he always kept it lit.
But I would have thought something like that as
That
well.
was my understanding.
And then this Humvee pulls up, and then every so often to prestige, you touch the Humvee, and then you have to rub all the buds to harvest them.
Humvee is a prestigious vehicle.
And it's I don't know.
I hear it's bad.
It's not a great one of
Okay.
these.
All
That's
right.
for sure.
Okay. What is these? Is it a farming game?
It's a clicker. It's
it's just a clicker?
Yeah. It's a,
Okay.
Yeah. It's a,
It seemed like there was maybe a little more strategy to it than
no.
that. Okay.
No.
Man.
If anything, there's slightly less from the
Management.
But I have not unlocked more than 9 strains. So maybe once you get over 9 strains, you only
Okay.
have 9 plots. You have to
Yeah.
pick and choose.
Yeah.
And maybe there's
That's
a
where
bit
the
more
strategy comes
game
in.
there. But yeah, it does keep dropping these green gems. I actually didn't. It actually does tie into what you were talking about in that it seems to be generous
Oh,
with
it's pretty
the paid
generous?
currency
Okay.
as well.
Yeah.
I love weed advertising in the Bay now because
It's everywhere.
It's on buses.
Weed maps is
and-
all over the
yeah.
place.
It's like
Yeah.
shockingly all
Billboards.
over the place.
I saw a TV commercial for hydroponics, but it was all like dudes in their 20s with sunglasses growing tomatoes in their house because they're not going to show us
So,
the weed.
yeah, I had a friend who worked in the hydroponics business, and this was 5 years ago or so. So like kind of a different time, weirdly
Yeah.
enough. Doesn't seem like that long ago, but he was like, "Oh, the way we have to market all our stuff is so tight and regulated. We cannot. If someone walks into our store and asks us if they can use these to grow weed, we have to kind of just walk away from him because he's probably a fucking fed. Just the way they had to sell their stuff was so." They had to be so specific about what they would and wouldn't say when marketing.
And now
talking
the
about it.
ex-mayor of Oakland is opening a weed shop
Wait,
in
really?
the Sunset.
Which one?
Gene Kwan.
Gene Kwan?
Yeah.
Wow.
In the Sunset.
Yeah.
Weed
Yeah.
shop.
It's
It's a growth industry.
I cannot imagine being a person that has invested heavily in that business right now.
Apparently, it's
like that has
printing money, but
staked-
also banks won't take it.
you can't get a bank account. You have to deal in cash, which is dangerous in its
friend of
own
mine
right.
does, and there are people who are know this and will break in looking for cash.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
oh my
Sounds
God.
like it, even though you are like technically legal under state law, it is still a pretty dangerous operation to
I wonder
run.
if the employees get paid in cash as well. Then in that case.
but also on top of that, like
It's scary.
have fun at the federal level in the next couple of years.
Yeah,
if you run one of those
yeah.
ops.
like when they fucking
Anyway,
what the fuck.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Yeah,
to
it's
invest,
weird
invest in something like
for
that.
as legal as some of that stuff is. Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's that far removed from the days of like a dude with a fucking AK-47 up in Humboldt County, just like standing near his grow op, waiting for you to find it so he can mow you the fuck down.
Yeah, my understanding is even in places like Colorado where it's been legal the longest, you still can't get a bank account.
Sure, yeah.
It's a rough business. I understand you've had some other Marvel action happening.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I can't talk too much about it because they've got embargo stuff until like later this week. We'll talk about preview impressions or hands-on stuff next week.
Of
Marvel versus Capcom Infinite.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
they put out a trailer this morning.
They put out a story trailer. Yeah, they're doubling down on that.
Tell me your
story
impressions
stuff.
of that trailer.
My impressions of that trailer is. Wow, if you really want to know the history, the deep-seated lore of why these two universes are colliding together, this game's going to tell you.
You want to hear the origin story of why this guy can jump 3 screens?
No, not so much. I mean, that's just a given.
Okay.
Like, that's just standard lore.
Everybody can do that.
Everybody knows that.
Is this still 2D art or is it 3D models?
3D models on 2D planes. So
like even 3 was 3D models, right?
I haven't looked at one of those games in a long time.
Yeah, it was. But they're doubling down on the cinematic story mode, which we saw in Street Fighter 5.
Yes, of course.
So they're doing that.
Good.
The main baddie is like a combination of Ultron from the Marvel Universe and Sigma, I guess from Mega Man 10 or X or whatever.
Yeah.
2 robots. So
are those
one robot?
Yeah. Are those the prevailing factions in this? Or
Capcom and Marvel, yes.
Yeah.
No, but I mean like Mega Man specifically.
Mega Man is in the game.
Oh.
I think he's in the trailer.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But those are the two
So
factions
rejoice.
butting heads in the story.
Yeah, I guess.
Mega Man robots
I
versus
think they
Marvel
announced
robots.
like Chris Redfield is in it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's gonna have a wacky roster. No real surprises. I think from that story mode trailer that came out today.
All right.
So, but yeah, we can talk more about it in like gameplay.
Okay.
Next week.
I look forward to hearing about some Pringles, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. All the chips.
Yeah.
All damn chips.
Yep.
But no, I've been spending a lot of time with Dragon Quest Heroes 2.
We talked about that briefly when you got a hold of it last week,
and God damn it,
I was like, "Is this made by Omega Force?" And you were like, "Yep." And I was like, "All right, see ya."
And then you walked away, and I'm like, "No, stop! Wait, these games are actually pretty. Oh, damn it! And you're cringing over there. Stop it!"
I was open-minded, for the record.
Thank you very much. All right, so the Dragon Quest Heroes, yes, and a Mega Force joint, yes. There's some mashy combat.
I wish it was just called Dragon
damn it.
Force Heroes, yes. I wish that was the name of that game.
But it is enough of a departure from
Quest
the
Heroes.
from the traditional Dragon Quest style games.
Yeah. See, that's what I wanted out of that Zelda game, and then it kind of wasn't enough of that.
Right. It wasn't
So
enough
now
of
I'm
that.
very
But
skeptical,
there's definitely more RPG elements in these games, and the first game was like that as well.
Does it have anything in common with the Empires games?
I haven't
You ever
played much
played
of
any
the
of those?
Empires.
Because I mean, like
games.
those were like the hacky slashy mashy combat of
And
those
then a bunch of
games, but
fucking
with,
boring ass stat screens to stare at.
At
and
least
go,
it was
man,
something else.
All right,
to bind all that shit together.
I got a download code for Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13 with your name all over it.
Great.
After
Okay.
you just said that out
Sure.
loud, you're gonna look at some fucking stat screens.
Stats.
There's no real stat screen to
Stats.
look at.
Stats of the ancient empire.
Hear me out though. Hear me out though.
Are
Yes.
there slimes? Do you cut them?
Yeah, you cut the shit.
Are there
out
like
of some
1,000
slimes.
fucking
There
slimes?
can be 1,000. Hey, the game's pretty fucking good, man. I don't know what you want me
I
to
don't
say.
believe you.
I know you don't.
Okay.
Is it
No,
a
you
good? Is
don't.
it, okay? Is it good or is it a good one of those?
It's a good one of those.
All right,
Okay,
moving
all
on.
right.
Oh fuck.
Good to know.
I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Yeah,
It's
no,
a
that's-
spectacle.
that's-
like
that's cool.
That's fine.
Hey, listen. I'll be the first to admit that like these games are not deep. I'm not really satisfied with the combat or anything like that. They're palate cleansers.
Yeah,
to me,
when you said that
when
the
you
other
talk
day,
about clickers all the
Yeah.
time, it's like
yeah.
you just
Yeah.
need to just like put something on and just
like-
fucking
like literally
get rewarded
literally
for not doing
when
much.
you used the phrase palate cleanser to me last week, like I immediately was totally fine with everything about
and you
this
understand.
game. I was like,
Okay.
yeah,
These
I
clickers
totally
are on my phone, and I can bring my phone places where Dragon Quest Heroes 2 cannot live. That's
or should live.
yeah.
It should.
Do you really want to let that game out of the home? I don't think
No, probably
it's not a good
I
idea.
guess not.
Nope.
It is on Switch in Japan. I downloaded the demo.
Hmm.
It plays like garbage.
No.
Like frame rate.
Oh yeah.
Wise.
yeah.
It's real rough. But no, I mean, yeah, seriously. There's an overworld this time. They've got a bunch of team combo attacks. It's a little more, yeah, RPG even than.
How's the music?
first one.
Is it
Music is
orchestrated
typical
versions of
yeah,
the Dragon
like
Quest
Dragon
music?
Quest stuff, and like it's an ensemble cast, so you'll have a bunch of characters that were in previous games, kind of popping in and out.
Because that ended up being like one of the things I liked the most about Dragon Quest Builders
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
the orchestrated versions of the classic.
but that game was
Dragon
fun.
Quest music.
Anyway,
yeah,
yes,
that was
the
a really
music
good
was
game.
great. That was
The
a
music
nice
was
bonus.
great. So
It was a nice bonus, but like that game was actually fun.
Fuck off.
You
This
have
game's
you,
fun too.
you keep your builders. I've got my, or you keep your heroes. I've got my builders.
I'm gonna keep my hairs because
We'll
you know
be
what?
fine.
They look damn good
Yeah,
too. So
okay.
it's got that Akira Toriyama art style in a 3D realm, but the graphics are like really crisp. It's a good looking game.
I went over to watch you playing that, and the character, they're all.
What do you play it on?
PS4.
Okay, it's on PC also. I wonder if that version ends up being
Don't know.
awesome or
I hope so.
if it looks
broken.
good, yeah.
They've
It
been
could be
totally
good.
hit or
Maybe
miss
one of
with
the
their,
other, yeah.
their ports,
Right,
so
yeah.
who knows? They did not send a code over for that, but yeah, for now I think it's just PS4 and
that
then
out?
PC.
That might be out now.
PC
I
out.
think it
PC's
might
out
be out
today.
right now.
Yeah.
Let me see if we pull it up real fast.
Okay,
That game looks damn good.
thank you.
Let's do a live.
I mean, like visually. I
Oh,
don't
no.
speak to the.
What?
21 user reviews mixed.
Mixed might be a bad port.
Burn
Perhaps-
it down.
Perhaps calling into question the quality of this port. We will see.
Or the overall game.
Yep.
God
also
damn it.
possible.
God damn it! It's a pleasant experience. It's
I'm not looking for
Have you
pleasant.
been,
I like pleasant
continuing to play Nier at all?
yeah, a little bit more actually. Yeah, so I got a little bit past where we were in that play date.
Oh, okay.
And I'm still just like so in love with
I-
pretty much everything about that.
I've been
game.
chipping away at it more and more, and the deeper into it I get, the more I'm kind of finding that the gameplay, like the combat, is continuing to not do it for
I've
me.
It's
seen-
not
I've seen
up to
people
you
say
other
that.
standards.
I think
I
I
guess
feel
as
like
far as like
It's
Bayonetta
fine.
and what.
It's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a huge problem with any of the combat, but it has just been. It's a little rote. It's like for the systems they built, it doesn't seem like the game really takes advantage of even those systems, let alone like
Sure.
systems they could have put into it.
But I think in terms of like making it accessible to
Oh, yeah.
people that are not fans of that genre, I think it's.
I guess
think it's great.
like I'm increasingly there for the story and the characters
Right.
and the art style,
Yeah.
and less so for the gameplay, which is making it a little bit hard to like progress.
I've
I'm at
seen
this point where like I want to know what's going to happen,
right.
but like
I've seen more than one person say they dropped it to easy just to kind of mash through that stuff faster.
I was thinking about doing
and,
that
and get
just
to the
yeah.
good stuff.
They have a version of that where you don't even have to like do anything. It just like automatically wins every fight. Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Not quite.
Okay.
I don't
There's
think
some
it's
game
quite
that came
easy,
out
but-
which just has like story only, and you hit a button and hold it down, and you go through every fight and just win it automatically.
Oh well.
I don't know what
Because
that would be.
some people.
I mean,
Yeah.
Mass Effect has something like that. but
Yeah,
not,
it's
not
like
exactly.
the lowest difficulty is just called narrative.
Yeah.
5% damage that you would take
Yeah.
normally.
Hey, speaking of Platinum, so they re-released Bayonetta
Yeah.
on PC and stuff.
Mhm.
They had a Steam update
Nope,
not too
nope.
long ago.
Nope.
I heard
Oh,
about this.
talk about
play
the news.
Play the music. Play the music.
Turn on the. God damn it!
I'm done with games anyway.
All right,
Let's talk about news.
we'll get.
All right, 2 seconds of the news music has to play, and now you can finish talking about this news from the world of Bayonetta.
hot from the Steam update folder.
That is the last story I had. That I ranked that number 4 on the list of this.
Well, we
week's
rank
news.
it number 1.
God damn it! It's fucking podcast mutiny. All right, we already got into it.
Did you get Bayonetta on PC?
No, I didn't, but I saw this going around. Yes, so they patched a 22 kilobyte JPEG of Vanquish into the PC port of Bayonetta.
Yes. If any like Platinum games deserves
Oh
that
no,
60
yeah,
frames
no,
per second treatment.
I said that the week the Bayonetta came out. but Vanquish better be next.
This is good.
I'm
excited for this.
Because
I am very excited to kind of approach Vanquish with a fresh set of eyes.
Yep.
Because when it first came out, I probably played about halfway through it, and then I don't know, I got like a little bored with it. So I kind of want to approach it fresh and just go like, hey, look, like now that this game has kind of achieved this like style icon position, like I'm gonna come at it a little differently than when I was coming at it. Is like, oh, let's play a little Japanese Gears of War. Oh, didn't Binary Domain just come out? Like, wasn't that already this? What's going on?
No.
Like it
can't ski on your knees.
I know
in Binary Domain,
but it existed in a very different place when it first came out than it does now.
Yep.
I mean, expectations and what people
Yeah.
think of that game. And at the time, like I skated around on my knees a bunch and eventually just kind of fell away from it. I forget if something else was coming out or what, but like I just it didn't rope me in the way that it did some other people. So I'm kind of excited
to get a fresh take on it.
Yeah, it's inevitable that they will do this. I mean, they're not idiots.
Right.
And they've said that they want to do more of this. both Platinum and Sega.
I couldn't find a link to this, but there were people quoting a supposed release from Sega today, or from it's like literally quotes, like unsourced quotes going around on Twitter saying like, "Yeah, we want to do a lot more of our old stuff."
Yeah,
on PC.
I couldn't
find that actual.
That's not
release.
from today. That's from a while
Okay.
ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was around the Bayonetta release. They were like, "Yeah, dude, we totally want to do this."
So maybe not even just limited to Vanquish.
And then prior to that, I think it was like Platinum going like, "We would love for someone to pay us to put all our games out again. That'd be fucking fantastic."
What else do they have? Like what other prime candidates are there for PC treatment from them?
Let's make binary domain better.
That wasn't them, was it?
That was Platinum,
Was
wasn't
it?
it?
No.
Oh shit! I don't know.
Surely
now.
not. I don't think so.
Like Sega published that.
Yeah.
But
Oh
I
man,
think that was Nagoshi, wasn't it?
yeah, I think you're
Wasn't
right.
he the director of that?
Yeah.
I don't know who the developer
It was like the Yakuza team on a weird side fucking
Devil's
bender.
Details is the developer of the PC version. I don't know if that means
yeah.
anything.
The devil
but,
is in the details. No, maybe Platinum could make it better.
I'm trying to think what else. Like the two Bayonettas, Vanquish.
That Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game that everyone loves.
Like the more recent stuff, yeah, like the Transformers game, like those
Yeah.
those already came to PC. So I'm trying to think what else is in that category.
Well, it was also Sega saying that they want to bring more
Oh,
of their
not
stuff. It
just
wasn't
Platinum
pure.
stuff.
It was both
Okay.
of them saying separately, I believe, like
Okay.
over the course of the last month or however long.
If only there were a
saying,
website
like, no,
that made it easy
Sadly, unfortunately,
to see a developer's entire body of work at a glance.
Wait, maybe I've got the website for you.
Yeah. Go on.
Giantbomb.com.
Yeah.
I didn't go
seems,
there.
Seems to be.
I think I got a spam email today about, or was it a weird email about buying nuke.com? Somebody
really?
support about it. I haven't
Not for
actually
sale.
checked it yet. But
All right, let's fix Mad World.
I thought the.
Yeah, Mad World actually.
Anarchy reigns.
People really liked Mad World.
Yeah.
I really did not.
I couldn't get into that.
Yeah.
Really
Anarchy
like the art
Reigns,
style,
yeah.
but
Wonderful 101 might be a candidate. I don't know.
There are people that certainly love that
Oh
game.
yeah, totally. People
yeah.
swear by that game. I don't know if Nintendo has any kind of stake in that.
Right.
That
I would assume they do, but I don't know.
Might keep that off the PC.
Star Fox Zero.
Yep. That'll totally happen.
Scalebound. Re-release of Scalebound.
Sure.
I'm not going to get into it, but I had ideas about what to do with some of the domains we hold in our portfolio while I was away on vacation. It was definitely a feeling of like, what the fuck are we? And now I'm sitting here thinking like, I got to build a business case and pitch to people about this thing we should build.
you got time. Nothing
Sure.
but time.
Oh yeah. All right. Yeah, let's knock that out. Take another vacation.
Yep.
Monetize
write
the API.
specs.
Too.
Yeah.
Plenty of engineering resources left and right.
Anyway, that's exciting.
Vanquish may be coming to PC.
Yeah.
Call of Duty World War II was actually the name of Call of Duty World War II.
I believe it's Call of Duty WW2.
Oh, is that actually the name of it?
Yeah.
The big red one.
I can't believe they're calling it that.
It's cool.
I totally can.
It's just like, like what better way to signify that you are making a game set in World War II
guess.
than to fucking put it on the box?
Just like the names they used to slap on the World War II games, World at War, Big Red 1.
Yeah.
Like names with some pomp.
Airborne. No, that was Medal of Honor.
Yeah, but same kind of thing, And now it's just, here you go, WWII.
Yep. Straight up, letting you know.
Okay.
Apparently in Europe, that used to be called the Hitler War for a long time.
Really?
Like the Great War was...
everybody's got different, like the Soviets called it, the Great Patriotic
Vietnam is still the American War in
Great
Vietnam.
Patriotic War, I believe. Yeah, I guess as of this time tomorrow, we will know more about this game because they're doing a live stream.
There was some... I don't know if it was a leak or what it was, but I saw some pictures of text, so it's legit, that made it sound like they were going to have a separate co-op campaign, which sounds potentially cool.
All right, okay.
I keep it out of my single player.
Could be cool. If it's anything like Spec Ops, then sure.
Oh, yeah.
Just make a campaign out of Spec Ops. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I really liked Sledgehammer's last game a lot,
Yeah.
but a lot of the things I liked about it were the way they did their future shit. So
Yeah.
And having just played some Black Ops 2, which is kind of close to basic ass pre-mobility Call of Duty, that was fun. And they did Modern Warfare Remastered, which didn't have any of that stuff, and that held up reasonably well too. But I don't know, man. I feel like I can't be alone in this, in feeling that like after years of part of the progression revolving around sick ass weapon attachments, fucking red dot sights that have weed leaves instead of red dots.
Yeah.
to go back to an era when there was no red dot sight.
Yeah, they definitely have some challenges on the gameplay side.
Like I am at a point in my life where I don't know that I want to play a Call of Duty game with iron sights.
At the same time, like it certainly has not held back Battlefield 1.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, obviously
you could argue that those audiences are looking for something slightly different out of their multiplayer shooters, so maybe
they need to do something.
But I mean, like Battlefield 1 has a scale and an emphasis on like vehicle action and stuff that like you can kind of be okay with, like, okay, these guns aren't quite as technically impressive because there's all these other things you can do.
Right.
Whereas Call of Duty is 100% like point a gun at a guy and shoot him.
Yeah.
So if the guns are...
They did vehicles in 3. The early Treyarch games had vehicles, and it was not good, but they did it.
All I know is that Call of Duty 2 is one of my favorite MP games ever. Like
maybe
you were picking up guns
then.
off the ground, you were hiding the PPSH thing. All the weapons in that game were fantastic.
Yeah, maybe they're going to use the setting as an excuse to like dramatically revamp the way that Call of Duty multiplayer works.
I
don't know.
They would need. Well, I guess they wouldn't need to, but I think it would be foolish of them to just present the same multiplayer in a like back to basics sort of like. Well, now you've got the old guns. I just don't know. But at the same time, like I said, you know, the franchise hasn't exactly been setting the fucking world on fire for the last few years here. So maybe that's exactly what they're going to do.
Maybe this is kind of a Hail Mary for them. It's like, all right, well, it's been dwindling for the last 2-3 cycles.
Yeah. I would like to see if they're going to go World War II again, I would love to see them make more dramatic changes to the size of the conflict, the scope of
Are we talking campaign?
No,
multiplayer.
Just multiplayer purely.
Okay.
Campaign could be whatever, you know. Like you can make a World War II campaign, no problem. Like that's very doable. But in terms of multiplayer and all that sort of stuff, like I get hung up on progression with that stuff, which, you know, like it or not, progression matters in these types of shooters. Like that, some people say, like, oh, remember when it was just fun to just shoot? Like, fine, yes, I do, but also, you're trying to appeal to people who aren't good as well, and you want to give them experience points even when they do poorly, so that they always feel like they're working towards something, so that they keep playing your game. And now, on top of that, so they keep buying supply crates for real money and all this other stuff. Like, there's a real business need to keep people in that ecosystem, even if they're bad at the game.
Yes.
So that type of progression, I think it's fun, but also there are business reasons why it has to stick around.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. Like, I wonder if they get into just, like, the dumb thing that a lot of these games do where, like, these are experimental weapons. One of them technically existed in that era, so we have a fucking laser gun. You know, like...
Imagine a World War II where the Nazis won.
I mean, they made that game
easier to imagine than you think.
It's called Wolfenstein.
Yeah, I know. That's my thing. Like, World War II games, I mean, Wolfenstein, The New Order, Nazis. I mean, shooting Nazis is fun, but going back to those Wolfenstein games, it'll take a lot to knock those out of my... Not that Call of Duty has any worry about Wolfenstein.
Wolf is goofy in old history and occult and in really outlandish cartoon comic book kind of ways. Like Call of Duty plays it real straight.
Yeah.
So we don't know anything except for the title of this thing right now?
Yeah, they're going to have a reveal pretty soon here. So
also, like, trying to stay away from the contemporary relevance of this thing.
Yeah, sure.
But I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying it's like...
sometimes people need a reminder that Nazis are supposed to be on the wrong end of the gun.
Right.
That's
what I was getting at.
Yeah.
But yeah, like no real details other than what we already said. I guess.
Yeah.
It exists. The name was right.
Right. I wonder what this even is, you know, and Battlefield 1's a great indicator of, like, there are certainly people that are willing to go back to these conflicts. Like, honestly, like, people have been, there's been a lot of people demanding a return to World War II for years now. So I think they're right to do it. I think it's something that, you know, as people got further and got more and more, like, disenfranchised with their future shit, and a lot of that came to a head with Infinite Warfare. I think they're right to do this.
I'm curious,
but I don't know if this solves, like, my problems with Call of Duty.
Yeah,
which is, we all know, are the most important problem. It's. I think they're right to give it a shot, because I don't know what shot they take otherwise. Honestly, like, if they're not doing this, but also we should start taking odds on whether this gets announced alongside a Modern Warfare 2 remaster.
Oh man,
because if you want to solve your problems with issuing a game that might be a little too throwbacky for some players, Modern Warfare 2 was where they kicked off a lot of their unlockables and a lot of their weapon customization stuff in a way that it still works today.
You think that would support a thriving multiplayer community the way that Modern Warfare 1 Remastered did not?
I think no. Modern Warfare 1 on console is fine.
Remastered?
Yeah,
like it. I thought it did not have like a huge.
I guess I don't. I haven't tried lately, but my understanding is that it was doing fine. I mean, they added content to it after the fact.
I could have sworn you or somebody was saying
the PC was where it, like the bottom dropped out on all versions of Call of Duty.
Well, I thought I remembered hearing like all the modes except for Team DM.
That's
every Call of Duty
just
game every Call of Duty now.
That's not
okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's all of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I could see them wanting to do that. If maybe that helps them, like, well, maybe if they view this as any kind of risk, that mitigates it to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Putting that out alongside it.
Sure.
And it got people amped, like when they did it for Modern Warfare. Like it attracted people to it in a way that like they certainly weren't into Infinite Warfare.
I played through that whole campaign on whatever's under veteran, and then did Mile High Club again. Like that game has legs.
Modern Warfare 2 was
that game too
was a good fucking game.
That was
some
the
really
one,
good maps.
That was the one where the campaign got crazy.
Yeah,
I think in a different way.
Yeah, there was. I mean, they took it.
It got more Michael Bay from what I remember.
Yeah, yes, definitely. I liked that game a lot. You could shoot down UAVs. It
was a sea change.
Yeah, those were the days.
Sure. I'm gonna do something highly unorthodox here and read some emails about this subject.
What?
As opposed to waiting for the emails.
Play half the email music and then roll it back. I don't
know how this works. Okay, that's all we need. Yep. Good.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Yep.
Now we can do this. Jeffrey from Hong Kong. You kind of touched on this a little bit, but I've started wondering something about the new Call of Duty with this year's return to the classic World War II setting where things are grounded, people don't run on walls, and Snoop Dogg wasn't born yet. What will happen to the culture that has grown up around these games? Will there be MP40s and Thompsons with marijuana skins and a Method Man announcer that talks shit about Nazis? Or will they play it straight this year and alienate that kind of crowd?
That is a huge
part
of my question about this stuff. Is like how much of that stuff makes them money to the point where they'd be scared to get rid of it,
right?
Or are they scared? I think they're probably at a point where they're willing to take some drastic chances with the game and wheel a lot of that stuff back. But yeah, the cosmetics have certainly been a part of that game for a handful of years now.
Yeah.
And that's why I could see them doing, that's part of why I could see them doing a Modern Warfare 2, because you could inject way more cosmetics into that game.
Sure.
Because it is, the gun skins and all that other dumb shit, I think would make a little more sense there. Or, I mean, would it be kind of amazing if they just fucking said fuck it and put all that shit onto World War II era characters and guns?
Yeah.
And just went like, whatever. Just because it's a different
certainly
war
an angle
doesn't mean we need to be.
That would be a perfect like manufactured controversy.
Yeah,
too, a lot
some
of
people would not take that well.
It'd be a big news thing. Like,
yeah.
the greatest generation.
I want to see some. I want to see some period appropriate cosmetics for that thing. I want like a George Patton sound-alike announcer pack or something.
Well, keep in mind that it's a little different. But they had Ice Cube as an announcer when they were doing like Vietnam era stuff in Black Ops 1.
Well, but he played a character.
Yeah, it was not Ice Cube being Ice Cube,
right?
Which would have been way better.
Sure.
So, depending on what their voice cast is, there's a lot of stuff they can do with
maybe that's a way they go.
That gets them more interesting characters doing their MP announcing if they wanted to do that, I guess.
Sure. A couple more quick emails about this
or
stuff.
Maybe they just fucking have a World War II game with jump jets in it.
So that is full on Wolfenstein then at that point.
Right.
Yeah, that's some ridiculous
experimental tech, fucking
sci-fi
World War II exosuits. And
there was a
I don't
mod,
think they'll do that.
There was a mod for one game back in the day that had like experimental World War II weaponry. I forget. It was a shooter that had an expansion pack with all like the Germans actually had plans.
Secret weapons of World War II. Or,
I forget what game it was.
I feel like a lot of games have done the hey, it's our World War II game, but we want to make sure you have a cool gun at the end.
Word von Braun is talking to you about all the stuff he would have made. Yeah,
the V3 rockets. They're shoulder mounted. I don't know. Yeah, just a Gundam with an iron cross on it.
I'll read these two emails back to back. Hassan from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
Okay.
With the official announcement of Call of Duty World War II, it made me think about what the next game in the series will be. I find
World War III.
Hard to.
What?
Too soon. I find it hard to believe Activision will put out back-to-back World War II-based Call of Duty games, but do you think that they will use this year's game as a sort of soft reboot for the series to change the era the games are set in? Whatever the 2018 Call of Duty game is, they must already be deep into production, so is the move back to World War II just a one-off and they make another future shooter after this? Or can we expect the next game to also be set in the past or maybe even the present?
I mean, well, so if Sledgehammer is this year, then Treyarch is next, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then, because Infinity Ward was
correct.
this year.
Yes, that is correct.
So I think, Treyarch
getting back to its roots as well. Those were they made 2 World War II games.
They did, but they also are the team that did Black Ops, and Black Ops has been some of the most successful. That has been probably, I want to say, probably the most successful sub-brand for the franchise.
Yeah.
And Black Ops 3, they capitalized on the name there in a way that I thought that game had some missteps.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Seems like the community largely agreed.
Or
I'm sure it was fine.
I think
in terms of popularity.
people were more into Black Ops 3 than they were Infinite War, or into
Advanced Warfare.
Advanced Warfare.
Really? Oh. Okay.
Yeah. In some cases, yeah. I don't know. I liked the mobility stuff in Advanced Warfare a lot more, but that's me. I could see them actually just like making a Black Ops 4. I don't know story-wise if that makes sense, but also Black Ops 3 didn't necessarily make storyline sense after Black Ops 2. I thought Black Ops 2 was actually like a masterful way to weave in the events of Black Ops 1 in a relevant and really crazy way. Like I played some Black Ops 2 campaign because it just came out on the backwards compatibility stuff.
Yeah.
And I forgot that there's literally a mission where you're just fucking next to Noriega.
God,
like
really?
that game's fucking crazy
Huh.
because it jumps all through time.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it's like, some of it is Frank Woods telling stories in flashback, and you're going back to, do the things that were kind of around the edges of the first Black Ops. But then also there's this, you're the son of fucking Alex Mason. Or David, you're the son of Mason.
I landed on the Call of Duty franchise Wikipedia page, and that thing is arranged in a really strange progression because they rope World at War in as part of the Black Ops arc.
They do.
Like that was like a kind of a shocking revelation to me that I was like, holy shit, like every one of these Treyarch games has been one
stuff they do to tie
storyline.
that shit together is fucking nuts.
That's actually kind of wild.
And that made the reveal for that kind of Black Ops reveal was fucking crazy at the time. Even if you could sort of see it coming as you played through that campaign. Or again, I did.
Like that in retrospect, that is a kind of way more interesting way to approach that series in like a geopolitical sense than just the kind of
I think the stuff
military stuff of the Infinity Ward games.
The stuff that Treyarch has done has been really fascinating and rooted in some interesting stuff that doesn't always make it into the game. And part of that comes from talking to them around the time of Black Ops 2 coming out and them sitting down and going like, hey, rare earth minerals, China controls a lot of them. That's the fight.
Yeah.
Because you can't make your iPhone without them. And Apple just recently, like last week or something, like around Earth Day, was like, we are looking to make iPhones that do not use any rare earth minerals. We want to make them completely out of recycled parts going forward. Partially because it's an earth-friendly thing to do.
Right.
But also there is still the very real chance that could be something that touches off some conflict.
Yeah.
Because a lot of modern military hardware relies on some of that stuff to be made. So a lot of that stuff I found really fascinating, more fascinating than a lot of the storyline stuff that made it into Black Ops 2, because that was just the set dressing behind it. But yeah, I think that what Treyarch has done with, and Treyarch has tapped into some of my favorite fucking weird Cold War shit with numbers stations and all that stuff too. Like I feel like they are on a wavelength that I tend to find really fascinating when it comes to military, like secrecy, all that weird shit.
Right.
But Black Ops 3 just went too future in a way that at some point was just like, all right, so this whole game's in your own head, or what's even happening here? Like it just,
Oh, right, that was the one.
That was the one
Maloney.
with Maloney.
Yeah.
And there's some great fucking far out wild shit in there that like the reveal of it is on par with the older Black Ops stuff that tied it into World at War, but too much.
A little crazy.
Little much.
Yeah. I'll just read a snippet of this last email, Jeff, from Lawrence, Kansas. Just what the hell are they going to make, what the hell are they going to name the inevitable sequel to this? Call of Duty World War II 2? That doesn't exactly roll off the tongue.
It's just like Final Fantasy.
Nothing of how little sense it would make.
It's II-2.
II-2.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I guess I could see it going either way. This could be a one-off, or it could be kind of
it could be an every 3 years thing. This could be Sledgehammer's ballpark from here on out if this does well. I bet they have to naming it this lets them reestablish and leaves no fucking question in anyone's mind where this game is set, right?
Yeah, yes.
Like it's a dumb fucking name for a video game, but that's what they need right now. Is just like fuck it.
Yeah.
Here's the World War II game you wanted. Yep. It's not Infinite this or Advanced that. What came after what? We don't even know.
Yeah.
They should just put the fucking year on it. Honestly, like it should just be Call of Duty 2017.
Oh, that year. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about
not 1944.
1940. Sure.
Call of Duty 1942 would be a pretty funny name for a game, though.
I would be totally, yep. It's worked before.
Yeah. Here's a popular year. But yeah, it makes sense for them to go with this bone stock, dumb fucking name this time around because they need to convey as clearly as possible, hey, we fucking heard you. Here's a fucking World War II game.
Yep.
Oh, God, please care about it.
Yep.
And then if 3 years down the line they make another one, then they can be fucking the Big Red 2.
Yeah. Yes. Oof, I don't know.
No, that doesn't work.
I heard that one wasn't so good.
No, that was a Treyarch side story, I think.
Big Red. I think that was Spark.
Oh, maybe you're right.
Was Big Red around console exclusive?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's something they can solve in a few years. They don't have to. By that time it will be established. Hey, this is the sequel to Call of Duty World War II.
Yeah.
It is called Call of Duty 1942. Again, solving the problem.
Eagerly await that day. Anyway, yeah, like I said, we'll know more tomorrow, so we'll talk more about it next week. But
there's still some small part of me that wishes they would just break out a multiplayer-only Call of Duty, remove it completely from the context of military stuff, and make it look like just fucking laser tag with a bunch of celebrities in it. Like every playable character is just fucking Jonah Hill or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And
all those people they get for their marketing campaign.
Exactly. And just make that game and just say, like, here's our multiplayer platform. And it's completely removed from this sort of stuff. We'll have different modifiers from year to year where, hey, we've changed, just fully esportsify it in a way that doesn't change the rules that much, except on do that annual basis thing, because there are some people that like the fucking dolphin dive versus the crouch, or the knee slide, or like that stuff.
That stuff would probably be fine. I wonder if the campaign could support its own product, though.
No,
like they would just stop making campaigns at that point, right?
Yeah, probably.
I have to assume, which would kind of be unfortunate.
But maybe they sell the campaign with a bunch of exclusive add-on content that works with the multiplayer platform.
Yeah, maybe.
That's probably bad business. Even still today, if you consider Call of Duty to not be what it used to be, that's probably still bad business.
I didn't play Titanfall because it didn't have a campaign.
The first one?
Yeah. Titanfall 2, though, amazing.
That was a good campaign.
Yeah. I'm curious to see this Battlefront campaign stuff. Did you talk about that?
Yeah, we talked about it last week, but that stuff sounds interesting-ish.
I watched Rogue One while I was away.
We watched it again too. We watched it again. That movie would have been a lot better without that middle Darth Vader scene.
Oh yeah, you're probably right.
Cut it out. Just have him at the end. That'd be totally effective.
I know I know all the scenes, even though I haven't seen it. Which one?
Oh, sorry. Well, he talks to the bad Imperial dude in the middle of that movie, and then
what's so bad about it?
It's just not necessary. There's no real exposition, or he's not really explaining anything.
It's like,
it felt like one of those rewrite
the
things.
end of movie Darth Vader bit would have been a much stronger reveal.
We should realize that there are people probably haven't seen this movie yet, so I
that stuff is everywhere now that the Blu-ray is out. Like I watched a little, I think it was Wired or somebody did a little YouTube video on like, here's how we did blah blah blah, and then they showed that entire ending Darth Vader scene start to finish in that YouTube. Like no commentary. It's just here's the entire scene.
So different for it because it's not doing anything Darth Vader-y, but. No, that movie. On second thought, there was some definite weird stuff. I think Ben Mendelsohn, the guy who played that bad Imperial, was fantastic. That's what I took away from most of that.
I thought that the movie it gets going in a way that is a little confusing at first when you think about. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan by any stretch, but you tend to think about it as like the most fucking brain dead good versus evil story.
Yeah.
And for them to introduce a lot of shades of gray in the opening,
they're going to do what they got to do to
get
those Death Star plans.
Yeah, like it's hard to it's a little hard to parse at first. Like, wait, who's on what side? Hang on,
these guys are doing shitty things to fulfill their goals.
But kind of once they get over that initial hump and establish everyone and establish that is the way things are. I think it's a really good fucking war movie kind of thing. Like it's a neat.
I think Donnie Yen is just always underused in American movies. I thought he did pretty good. You could tell that was one of those things where they had to have a Jedi. They couldn't have a Jedi, but they had to have
a Force, Force-sensitive character.
I have mixed feelings about the movie, but for the most part, the second viewing I think was better than the first time. Mostly because the theater was noisy.
I enjoyed it. We sat down and watched it right after going to see the new Fast and the Furious, which I found mostly disappointing.
There's a spoiler cast of that up on the site.
Yeah, enjoyable but disappointing.
Sure.
Ugh. God damn it!
It's finally hit that point now where they're just cranking them out.
I don't know. It's worse than that.
They already have up to 10 planned.
Yeah,
so,
they've got release dates for 9 and 10. You know, that it's hard because it's maybe no fault of their own, and what are they going to do? But I feel like that movie is missing its emotional core.
Okay.
And
I have a good idea of why that is.
And the way they have to lean on characters who were not meant to be in primary roles, just doesn't work. That's a shame. And
that's just an unfortunate twist of fate
of the Furious.
Yes, indeed.
Go on.
In another slightly more predictable twist of fate, they're probably making a mini Super Nintendo.
Where did that come out?
Says Eurogamer. Eurogamer ran a story citing, quote, sources.
Makes sense.
Sources close to the company have confirmed that not only are they making a mini SNES and that it's coming out this year, but also specifically that's why they discontinued the NES.
I had a feeling the assembly lines would have to be...
They all but say, they needed that production capacity to make this Super NES coming, and that's why...
10% of how many people actually want to buy.
Yeah.
Great.
Sure.
I would play a mini SNES over it.
I am totally with you, but I don't know.
But I also don't really. I mean, there are a lot of people who will buy that, though.
Yeah. I'm way more likely to get one of those than I was the NES.
If you can find one.
Well, who knows? Maybe they'll make a ton of these because they stopped making the NES.
I don't know. I think that's a lesson they would have learned by now if they were going to learn it. Yeah. So they'd probably rather have people talking about, if they put this out in the holiday season and it's hard to find,
pack it in with a Switch, like a Switch bundle. Yeah. Hey, there you go.
Or include codes that let you download these Super Nintendo games on the Switch.
Sure.
That would make me more likely to play that stuff. I think that this, it ends up being this weird thing of let's get people talking about Nintendo, even if it is in a frustrated way. They are still saying our name. Our name is on their lips. They are hopefully going to go buy a Switch.
They still desire a product that we make.
Yeah, and if they can't find this one, maybe they'll buy the more expensive one. I don't even know what the play is, but that's as you it's one of those things where you want to say there's got to be a master plan here, right? It's not just incompetence,
right?
And maybe it is, but yeah, sure, they should make one of those. I don't know that the NES one fulfills the need for me to have a tiny, cute little Nintendo on a shelf with an amiibo sitting on top of it.
Yeah.
And that's about as useful as it is for me personally. I don't know. That's sure. Why not?
Shall I read this email from Ryan in Maryland who sends in his ideal list of 30 SNES games?
Boy, I would love to hear anyone's ideal list of their favorite 30 Super Nintendo games.
We could just come up with our own.
Oh, that's even more fun.
He's got all 3 Donkey Kong countries on it.
Fuck him.
All right. We'll move on. Thanks, Ryan.
Firepower 2000.
I'm looking at the list. He does have ActRaiser.
Everyone has ActRaiser. It's a popular game. It's a really great game.
Harvest Moon?
Sure, why not?
Some Kirby game. Pick one, he says. That works.
Of course.
Kind of defeats the purpose of making a list.
Yeah.
You help me out here. I'm going to make my list.
I don't know.
All right, guys. Super Mario World plus All-Stars. But count that as one game.
They would not. They would not count that as one game. That would easily be 2 games.
Well, then... Well, that was one cartridge.
I know, but they would not go that way. That's going to fill 2 slots. That's easy. It would be probably hard.
How about A Link to the Past? Am I right? Now, that's a popular Super Nintendo game.
It would be hard probably to whittle down a list of 30 games on that console. There's a lot of good games.
Shaq Fu.
There's a lot of good games on the Super Nintendo. Crunchbase?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that site?
Yeah, it's like a tech crunch.
Yeah. Yes.
database of companies that TechCrunch runs, right?
They ran a story. Here's the headline. Despite hype, VR investment fades in Q1 2017.
Reading that too?
You saw that one?
I believe I saw the headline at least.
Yeah,
I think I read it.
Yeah, there's a dramatic decrease this time versus last year at this time in the amount of venture capital going into new VR projects. Huge.
Like hardware, or I'm assuming hardware.
I think
This would primarily.
I think it sounded more software.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a lot of the stories out of the first wave of stuff is people spend a lot of money and not getting a lot of money back from VR exclusive stuff.
A total of 26 companies with AR or VR focused businesses raised disclosed funding round. Together, just over $200 million in Q1 2017.
That's less than 10
compared to 29 companies in Q1 2016 raising over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Well, so
they raised their money already.
Well, a lot of them did. Although they do point out that a huge chunk of that $1 billion last year went to Magic Leap.
Oh, yeah.
What was Magic Leap?
It's
a still somewhat undisclosed AR wonder product. People the hype around that thing is crazy.
Yeah, it's like Weta did a demo for it that it's you put on the fucking glasses and then you're playing a shooting game in the real world, and it's cool stuff. And I remember a while ago hearing from someone who had tried it and they said it is the real deal. And then a year or so passed, and I heard multiple people after that really shitting on it.
So
and basically saying hey, all that stuff is smoke and mirrors. There are problems with it that it can exist. It probably will exist, but right now there are major issues with getting that thing working the way that they need it to work, or something. That's what I heard.
There is a line in this article. Magic Leap, the highest profile venture-backed VR company, has also been getting some bad publicity. Reports claim that company's technology has been oversold to investors.
Yeah, that has been the word going around for a while. But before I heard that, I heard from someone who had tried it and was very big on it.
Yeah,
I wonder if part of the funding stuff though is also the Facebook Bethesda legal stuff going around, because Bethesda was at one point thinking of asking for an injunction against Oculus being sold and things like that, and that might spook some people until that all gets all the way through.
You could spook investors, maybe. I guess.
That's what I'm
I don't know.
Those are the people raising money.
I would think that it's more just the return on investment right now. If you're looking to get in and get out, that's not what VR is. You got to be looking to make a long-term investment in VR if you even hope to see a return, right? I mean,
that's better to spend that money on juicers.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a growth market.
Fucking squeeze these VR headsets.
That's right. Some delicious.
Remove head first, but
the money just comes right out.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I don't know. The last couple of rodeos we did, there was definitely this feeling of my feeling on VR is really I guess evolved, and I still think the tech is really awesome. But now I'm in this situation where I'm chasing new experiences in VR. I want to do new interactions, things I haven't done in VR before. And it seemed like every time I loaded up Steam to try to find games or even the Rift store in a lot of cases, it seemed like a lot of the smaller stuff that was just this would be fun to just kind of look at in a one-off. It was just here's 2 more shooting galleries.
Yep.
A whole lot of point and shoot.
That Steam in 6 seconds, the trailer Twitter feed has been. I've been looking at it. I look at it coming through, and it feels like 2 out of 3 games are weird VR. They look kind of shitty, weird hacky VR stuff.
And that's cool. It's cool that people are hacking away at it, but it's starting to I feel like some of it is homogenizing more than it should around shooting guns.
Yeah.
And people have done that really well.
Yeah.
And so there's not a lot of room anymore, I feel, for games that are not doing it that well.
Yeah, that Epic game looked really, really. Was that the one?
That's on the Rift.
That game looked really, really cool.
Yeah, Robo Recall does that stuff really well.
And seeing that
Super Hot has its own thing going on.
When we did that V Rodeo, seeing that, and then 2 other ones that were nowhere near as interesting looking, was
yeah, it's night and day in some cases. But also I love Job Simulator. And that's built around goofy, novel interactions.
Yeah.
And I think that's really awesome. But I've also had a lot of goofy, novel interactions in VR. So I'm just not sure what I want anymore, because now you have companies that are starting to focus on longer experiences. Resident Evil in VR, or Wilson's Heart is just out now. And I played that back at E3, and it's kind of more of a story-driven kind of horror style game, and but it is still based around goofy novel interactions in a sense of I'm going to teleport to this thing and solve this puzzle before I get murdered, or whatever it ends up being. And I don't know that I want longer VR experiences. The more I think about it, It's time consuming. It's like for that to work, the experience, the game, whatever it is, has to be so amazing that it is worth completely removing yourself from all the other stuff you tend to multitask with at all times.
Right.
For me, it's almost like reading a book in a sense, which I don't do enough of anymore, because it ends up being this thing of like, oh, it requires a level of focus that I don't often have the time to give. And VR is kind of occupying that same space, I guess. I don't know. I think
it goes way beyond a book for me, because you're even shutting out the ability to like talk to your spouse casually or something like that.
Yeah,
like you
definitely.
are literally shut out from everything but the VR thing. So it better be worth the time.
Exactly. And most of the time it hasn't been. Yeah. And like, even for as much as I think the tech is awesome and I think there's some great experiences to be had, like, I don't know that I'm after longer VR experiences because the commitment is too great. And the smaller stuff is just starting to feel like knockoffs of last year's smaller stuff.
Kind of one note.
I don't mean to say that there's no innovation happening or anything out there, because I know that there are a lot of people out there that are working on a lot of different things. But the last few times I have put on a headset, I have not been thrilled with the outcome. And it feels like that's a pretty stark transition to, like, this time a year ago, or, well, it was all pretty brand new at this point. But even 6 months ago or something like that, there was definitely a feeling of just like, I want to see what this shit is, man.
Yeah.
Let's go. I want to do it all. And
it's
now
a production to get that stuff even up and running, like getting everything together for that experiences. I did it on UPF for the first time in a long time. It's just like, we have a different thing getting around with cameras and everything like that, but it's
but even
it's
doing it
work.
at home, I disconnected my Rift from my HDMI port on my video card and plugged in that 4K TV, and I have not looked back.
How long is your HDMI cord? I know you said it's a long way from your TV to your computer.
No, it's not that long. It's like 5 feet.
Okay.
I bought like a 10-foot cable.
I thought there was one that was right out your living room.
Yeah,
I've got a 30-footer.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm trying to go Steam Link. I've set all the stuff around. I'm still not happy with the image quality, and I think I might just try it along. But at some point you need like a repeater or something. Right?
But that's, you got to get
signal amplifier.
I mean, if you get a heavier gauge one, it's fine. I've got no signal problems over
buy a monster
30 feet.
Monster cable.
Definitely go to Radio Shack.
Gold plated. It only goes one way.
Yes, anodized.
I bought I bought the HDMI cable plugged into my TV at a Radio Shack.
A friend of mine
it was like weird discount because they're all going away,
and
it was still too much money.
A friend of mine bought an HDTV in 2009 or 10 and got an HDMI cable packed in from Best Buy. It was $70. It's like, no, you really need the good shit. Like, no, if I can find that on Amazon. She was a little upset when I told her about it, but
it's still a racket.
Yeah, I've got a 30-foot HDMI. Like, I just leave it stuck in the video card, and then I zip tied two 15-foot USB cables to that thing to plug in the Xbox One receiver and the little Logitech dongle for a wireless keyboard trackpad thing. And then just kind of unfurl it down the hall and plug it into the TV when I want to.
This would be just for my PC, so
it's kind of a pain in the ass to set up and take down every time I want to use it.
But like, that's apartment life. Like, you couldn't wire the walls. You couldn't just fuck it. Cat 5 everything, Cat 6 everything.
If I owned a house, I would install the shit out of a bunch of like backplated HDMI and Ethernet.
I was thinking about it.
Man, I would totally do that.
Because I'm gonna get some work done. We're gonna do bathrooms here pretty soon. I was like, well, if we're gonna tear up the floors in this room, we got plenty of room to run cables.
Ethernet to the bathroom.
Drop some Cat 6 in there.
Yeah.
Live life.
Dragon Quest Heroes 2 on the toilet, just like all these clicker games I'm so fond of. Wait, what were we talking about?
Emails is what we're talking about.
We got one more news story, though.
What?
We have one more news story.
That's right.
Mutiny continues.
The real news.
What? Giant Bomb Premium Sale coming up.
Oh.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's been a little interesting premium-wise. You're back now, though. We're going to go with some big stuff.
We're doing our thing. We got some announcements to make pretty soon here. So
that starts tomorrow. It's going to go for 2 weeks. It's been a while. It's been like 6 months, 8 months, I don't know. 6 at least.
Too long.
If you're seeing this now, you're obviously a premium member. But if you're not familiar with Giant Bomb Premium, we do a bunch of exclusive videos on our website only. It's going to be $35 for a year. of premium.
Shit, that's right.
And
I might
it's gonna
sign
be
up.
cheapest. And obviously, this is when I get really super busy when this stuff starts coming in.
Yeah.
Support at giantbomb.com. If you have any problems logging in or anything like that, please send me a message. I'm trying to clear out my backlog of that thing today. We've been having some really weird issues with our support stuff, which I feel like I should definitely take some time to mention. If you've been buying merchandise, we're doing a lot more merchandise lately too, and we are restocking the old game shirt. And we're
Good, because
I
I want one of those.
we're going to restock the
Cool
Beastcast
looking
shirt too.
Yeah.
But this is if you want to hear back inside story.
Let's hear it.
The link to support on our store site is to orders at socialimprints.com, CC'd in support at giantbomb.com.
Fun.
We use desk.com customer response management software, blah, blah, blah. It's like a ticket system.
Yeah.
They use zendesk.com.
Oh.
And whenever I forward an email from desk.com, it strips out the header where their email address is. So somehow when people send these emails out and we reply to them, they are not, people who are actually emailing us first, customers are not getting the responses at all.
Boy.
I noticed this a while ago. So in the meantime, if you have a problem with the support on the site, just send it to support at giantbomb.com. If you have a problem with a store order, support or orders at socialimprints.com. Complicated and boring if you're not into that kind of stuff.
We'll figure that.
I'm trying to give you an
I guess,
explanation.
yeah.
If you haven't gotten a response to support, that might be one of the reasons why. Feel free to send me a PM on the site too. I try to check those every day. But yes, sale tomorrow, lasting 2 weeks. You can extend yourself if you want to. If you already have a premium membership, perfect time to come on board. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, and also merchandise stuff.
Yeah, you saw something, didn't you?
I've got a hockey jersey on my desk.
Yeah,
It's a sample. It's not. We're not gonna. I probably won't show it around just yet. But
Yeah, we need to,
we are still progressing on that front. I know
It's a
we get a lot.
it's
We
a
get a lot
beta
of
jersey.
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about
Those
it. So I
are
just wanna
going
say
to be expensive. They're going to be really cool though.
Yeah.
I don't know what time. I get a lot of questions about it. No idea on time frame. Hopefully next couple months. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's going to be complicated to do that though. We can't really doing that at the same time as like E3 prep would be.
It's Well, the thing we'll run into with that is that they're customizable name and number. Yep. So.
And people want them signed.
We will figure out. We will have to figure out like how to appropriately convey the sizing of these things because they don't necessarily line up to T-shirt sizes one to one.
Yeah, and this is not going to be something you can send it back and get it This is going to be tough. We're going to figure all that stuff out.
Custom made items. But yeah, we've got some stuff we got to work through on that front.
A lot of stuff
before we start offering that.
But anyway, sale post. There'll be a news story tomorrow, and you'll be able to extend and buy new if you're not familiar with Giant Bomb Premium. I think we got a good backlog of stuff, and then we got a lot of stuff coming up. The next couple weeks, we'll try to go
we'll do
more premium stuff,
we'll do a thing.
and it'll be good for a year or multiple years. If you want to buy out, feel free.
Yeah,
but give us your money. That's always when I come here, and I feel bad for being a salesman, but at least I'm not trying to sell you ads or anything like that. Just if you want stuff, we got stuff to give.
We got an offer code. No.
You know, when you say it, I believe it though. You're earnest about it.
And I always say this: if you have any issue with, if you just renewed and you want to get the sale price, just email me at support. We'll figure something out. I always feel like we do try my best to make sure everybody's happy who signs up for premium. So, to the extent of my abilities.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
All
right,
I'm done.
Let's read a few emails and then get out of here. Bombcast at giantbomb.com. That's the email address. Harry writes in and says, with streaming now being the hot new thing the kids are doing, do you think it's time for SingStar to make a comeback or another karaoke equivalent game? Just think of the possibilities of ridiculous video of the dumb shit on PlayStation Playroom, or if I remember correctly, the mountain of cocaine you saw while playing Uno on the 360.
Mm-hmm.
Keep up the good work.
I did a lot of karaoke when I moved out here, and when I was at Whiskey, there was like a regular thing. And over the past few years, I've kind of gotten away from it for some reason.
Yeah,
it's expensive.
Well, he's talking about video game.
I know. I'm talking about more like social, way the world's going.
SingStar, was it SingStar or which one was it that had like the video upload stuff?
Yeah, SingStar had that stuff.
But that was like only in Europe, right?
No, they brought those out over here. And I want to say that there's one on PS4 even. So a karaoke thing I want to say just came out for like the Gear VR.
Huh.
Which VR karaoke doesn't, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
But they're doing that, and there's like they're finally doing the thing of like subscription service of like subscribe to our song library.
Okay.
And selection is always a problem with it. Games.
Yeah.
So instead of just buying one-off songs and stuff like that, like they're doing more stuff like that. There are things out for PS4 and even, God, I want to say even 3DS or something. I could be wrong, but in Japan, there are karaoke subscription services on consoles over there.
They love karaoke.
Oh yeah. I saw Lost in Translation twice. They sing in that movie.
They sure do.
yeah.
I think this guy's specifically asking about like hosting video,
streaming.
like dumb,
streaming live,
the
or
streaming,
just
like the
particular
rights
clips.
The rights become the hard part.
Yeah,
there
right.
because it is performance of the song and all that other stuff. Like
there's no fair use argument of like this person's adding their own vocals. They are enhancing.
So by performing it themselves, they are then. They would then be in charge of the performance royalty, but there is still the publishing and all that other stuff.
Okay.
Cover songs. It at some point becomes a cover song, and there are a lot of things in place to manage that.
Sure.
That'd be a fun thing to do to upload those to YouTube though, and just watch all the music publishing people go fucking apeshit.
Right. The SingStar stuff was limited in length. For that reason,
that's
like
right.
it wasn't.
Yeah,
you didn't see the full song most of the time.
right.
It was like, here's 30 seconds of this song or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think that this is like VR, where VR for me has been always, when I play it with friends, it's always with friends in a big group, and everybody's laughing at you when you're in the VR thing, and that's a fun way to do it. Karaoke, these are kind of party games, so they have to be played. I can't imagine anybody playing karaoke by themselves at home.
I've done it.
Sure.
I've seen enough clips of that to know that a lot of people I think do that.
I've done it. It's not.
I have a limited worldview.
Not proud of it.
Limited experience.
But I've done it. But you're right. Yeah, I mean, just like Rock Band, like the appeal of Rock Band is not playing alone.
Yeah.
You can, and that's a fun way to practice. And you know, it becomes a very different thing. But like the performative group drunk, maybe aspect of
Probably.
it is definitely a part of that.
But I think for something like SingStar, though, I think the move there would probably be to have like an all-in-one system where it's just like a microphone and you don't need a console for it, or you go the upper way and buy that $300 karaoke machine, which I know people who have had.
I've seen those.
But then there are apps for phones. Hook the phone up to your TV and do stuff that way. There's a lot of weird.
Some of those SingStar uploads were so good.
Yeah, there's some amazing stuff.
Man,
skeptical, but I mean, hey, anything is possible. I think music rights have been so weird after. When was SingStar? That was like 2008.
Yeah, that last one was. That most recent one was only 2-3 years ago or something.
Okay,
I think.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
If people want it, they'll build it.
Yeah,
I don't mean to sound jaded. I just karaoke has become like less of a thing that is a destination for me to go out and do.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah. Nick from Indianapolis. Is Yoshi sentient, or is he just Mario's pet and an animal? I'm on the sentient side, as he has had his own pet in Woolly World, and he can drive and play tennis and other sports.
I mean,
symbiotic
sentience.
You can teach dogs to do all kinds of stuff.
That's true.
Like skateboarders.
Sentience is a very low bar. It's consciousness. That
I was going to say, sentience is that's not a question.
In a weird way.
Yeah. That's probably not the right word for it.
Can he feel pain is the real question.
Sapient, is that what they're looking for?
Sapient?
Maybe. I don't know.
Consciousness, I think, is the real, like...
Is he self-aware, I think, is what we're asking.
Yeah.
Or is he like a dog or a cat or something?
Right. Can he pass the mirror test?
Is he like a Goofy or a Pluto in like the Disney universe?
Yeah. Right.
We saw those weird pictures of Goofy walking Pluto, and it's a dog walking a dog, and like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
It's wrong.
It's really right.
I put him at Pluto level.
You see Yoshi in Yoshi's own games solving problems and doing stuff, throwing those eggs to do shit.
It's guided by you, the player, though.
But isn't the implication that you are Yoshi in that situation?
No, I think you're guiding Yoshi.
You also see a lot of Mario like using Yoshi, jumping over a fire pit, and then launching off of him to go on his merry way.
Yeah,
while
exactly.
Has Yoshi
the appropriate?
I said
and proper
Roshi,
use
which was
yes,
Yoshi is burning alive.
Has Yoshi mastered the use of tools? I think that's the question.
His tongue is a tool.
That's true.
Are the eggs? Is the egg throwing? Is that tools?
Yeah.
Or is that like infanticide, really? Because I mean, you're kind of killing your own.
Okay, well, what about holding a turtle shell in your mouth that makes you able to fly? You would have to fucking be pretty able to grasp some abstract concepts.
Now we're getting to like psychotropics, and that's a pretty clear analog to a drug experience, I think. So basically,
so I don't think Yoshi actually really exists. I think the whole thing is just stemmed from fucking straight up chemicals.
just a desert vision quest.
Yeah,
Mario will wake up one day,
just wake up a Joshua tree, just going, "What the fuck?"
Liam, I'm sorry.
Some Blue Dream.
Yes, quite. Liam from Ireland. How would you feel if Knack 2 went through the same tone change as Jack and Daxter to Jack 2?
Is that English? What the hell was that? Jack and Daxter was a very whimsical, lighthearted, typical console platformer, and then Jack 2 came out and he had sunglasses and he was in like crime. He was a crime-ridden city.
Oh yeah.
And he was like jacking hover cars. And
How many character games can you name from that? Like there was Ukulele was a remake of something. Banjo-Kazooie. It was not right.
It's kind of not quite the same era, but
Sure.
yeah. It was there was definitely like when Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank were happening kind of around the same time.
Yes.
You were like, come on, Sony, just stop.
Yeah.
Name them different. And then sure enough, they just called it Jak 2.
Yep.
And you're like, smart.
Yep.
Way to go.
All right, so what do you think? Dark Knack.
They got sunglasses, a leather jacket.
It's gonna happen.
I mean, Knack is already cool. I don't know how you make Knack cooler.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a tough challenge.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I forgot that Knack 2 was real.
I know.
Until you just said that.
I know.
I kind of got.
They're making another Knack. Do you think like Knack just by default sold so many copies as a launch game that they were like, it's sold. Let's do another one.
Oh, I have no idea. Like maybe they think they can get it right this time, or what the actual plan is there.
Maybe Cerny just really wants to make another Knack game.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some
Knack
pull.
was not awful.
It's not terrible.
Was just boring.
It's just kind of it felt like kind of a throwback in not an interesting way.
Like parts of it seemed like it was designed as like a tech showcase of like, look at these little things form this big thing, but even that didn't come across great.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would make a Knack 2.
Yeah.
I don't know why first party Sony does anything it does. It's fucking all over the place. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Horizon's the best thing they've done in probably a decade. I don't know.
Yeah. Trevino from Texas. Elder Scrolls 6, tell me everything you know. If you know nothing, then tell me everything you hope for. I'll tell you what I want, a new combat system.
I want it to work. I want it to fucking work out of the box.
I want that ship may have sailed.
I want a game that
I'm afraid.
Like does not have broken quests and fucked up shit.
I tried to play ESO during that free week. First time it crashed. Second time the mouse and keyboard, the mouse would just drift off.
Well, that's a different.
Played it with a controller.
That's
I guess,
a different engine. That's that's kind of a
shut it down and stopped.
A side project.
But I mean,
they set that stuff. Let's say that goes without saying for a minute. Like what else would we want?
World War II.
Yeah.
All right.
They've said they're working on it, right? But it's a long way away.
I don't think
they even said they're
anything.
working on
Yeah, I
it.
don't think so.
Elder Scrolls Online kind of like I think casts a long shadow over anything else they do with that franchise. Because if they put out what would be a follow up to Skyrim, like who would play Elder Scrolls Online? They would want to go play that. So I wouldn't even. I would not be surprised if like the next game out of that studio ended up being something new.
Huh.
And because they did Fallout.
Interesting.
So it wouldn't be another Fallout.
Jeez, yeah. I kind of just assumed it would be another Elder Scrolls game, but what if they had a third thing?
Yeah. I could see them getting into something else next time out. But also maybe enough time has passed that maybe they will just go back to Elder Scrolls.
Maybe. I don't know.
Go back on that selling mods thing that they tried, and they'll probably, I assume at some point they'll
eventually get it right.
Yeah.
It was
right enough.
4 years from Skyrim to Fallout 4, is that right?
That sounds right.
Yeah, those are big games. They take a long time to make.
Yeah.
So minimum 2019, we're guessing, for the next one.
Sure.
If it takes another 4 years.
Xbox 5.
Yeah. I figure that Elder Scrolls Online and that game doing all right, if not great in some cases, or by some metrics.
It seems like it's doing all right.
Is a thing that would prevent them from going and making a sequel to Skyrim in the timetable that they have been making those games in.
Maybe now is their perfect opportunity to do something different.
But then again, like Final Fantasy 14 and 15, live side by side successfully as well.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. 11's still going too.
But like
11 and 14
at the same time, like they're introducing like they just added like Morrowind to Elder Scrolls Online. So it's like a lot of the classic areas and the classic stuff from those games, like they're still adding to online. So I think they still want people to go to that if they can get them.
Sure.
You got to imagine though now that people, Scorpio's coming out this year, but you have to imagine that the big developers are probably getting the specs on the next generation systems. Like they're probably knowing what the target for now. If you have a four year development cycle or something like that, you're probably already shooting for the future.
You're probably at least already thinking about it.
Yeah. Drew from Seattle, Washington. Last night, my building was evacuated in the middle of the night. We didn't find out why until this afternoon. I thought you all would enjoy reading why. I assume this came from the super or whoever, building manager. As I'm certain you are aware, the fire alarm system for the building activated at approximately 10:45 p.m. last evening. Originally, it appeared to have been a system malfunction. However, after speaking with our alarm contractor, we are of the opinion that someone had been vaping in the elevator lobby at the second floor, which in turn activated the alarm system.
Don't turn on the fog machine.
Yeah. Considering the disdain that Jeff has for the vape life, I thought I'd share this fun fact and ask the Bombcast crew what reasons they've had to evacuate buildings.
It's more of a fascination / disgust.
Yeah.
Because there's a tech element to it that is like fun in the same way that self-driving cars are. The future of smoking, the future of driving cars, the future of combat. It's all just I just like the future.
Yep.
Are we talking evacuation or vaping in particular?
No,
Just
he's got
evacuation.
a good evacuation
gotcha.
story.
Uh-oh.
It's not really a good one. It was just like, I don't know. It's the water main burst
right.
between floors.
That was
at
like a
our
week or
place.
two ago, right?
Yeah.
Have you
Like
talked to the
power
person
went
who got you said one apartment was basically ruined, right?
Yeah, a bunch of them were, as far as I
man,
know.
that's
But yeah, in the middle of the night, the power went out. We didn't think much of it, big storms and whatnot. So whatever. Woke up in the morning and no big deal. But then I checked Facebook, and apparently, water main had burst in between floors 2 and 3. I live on the 3rd floor, but apparently the 2nd floor was pretty much flooded. Wow. So like in the hallways, there was like a good, I don't know, few inches of water. And one guy posted a video of his apartment, and it just looked like torrential downpour inside of there.
Hope you got renter's insurance.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a lot of lawyer stuff.
How is there a stench?
No. They had a cleaning crew come through. I want to say like a few days. We had that kind of mildewy smell, which is fucking nasty.
Yeah.
But now it's cleared up.
Cool.
I think everything's okay. Well, everything was okay for us.
Right.
I used to have a installed fire extinguisher port next to my bathroom, and it was a small apartment. So I'd open up the bathroom, I'd take a shower, and I'd walk out, and the steam from the shower would actually trigger the goddamn fire alarm. And my solution to that was to take the fire alarm out and take out the battery,
there you go.
and just not worry about it.
I had a smoke alarm in my hallway that the hallway bathroom would set it off sometimes.
It's like you don't that could save my life someday, but for right now it's really annoying.
Oh,
so I bought one of those. I bought a fucking Nest fire alarm. So it's all Internet of Things. It's fucking
it vapes for you.
DDoSing someone right now. It's my own personal botnet. It's the best. And that thing apparently, I don't know if it dust collects on it or whatever it is, but it will talk when it is about to go off.
Ugh.
So 2 a.m, just suddenly
Shit.
The smoke alarm system is going to sound, and then it starts making a bunch of noises. So it's like you wake up to some woman's voice talking, and you're like, someone's in the house. It's like this immediate fear, but not like fear of fire, I need to evacuate. Fear of like, I need to get a weapon of some kind and fucking, I need to find a fucking golf club or whatever and get to work.
I just want to reprogram that with like goats yelling.
Right. Yeah. Something that
Help!
Yeah. I would.
That'd be better.
That'd be better than what it is now. But then for the longest time, when I would check the app or whatever, it would just say your system has malfunctioned. You should get it replaced. And then that went away, so I figured it's fine.
Engine check engine thing. Just don't worry. about it.
Eventually the light just went out and it was fine. But yeah, it did that a couple of times, and also that'll happen. Like while I'm here, and it will like my phone will start getting notifications constantly. This is like smoke is building up.
That's
smoke
fun.
is clearing. And I'm like, oh well, if it's clearing, that's probably fine. That's probably not an actual fire.
Everything I've heard about the Nest stuff from Google, like they apparently the guy who sold Nest to Google apparently is a real hard ass who has driven away all the talent in Nest, and Google apparently is very much.
I thought they were shutting down the Nest.
I don't even know.
It
sounded like Google took a bath of billions of dollars on that acquisition. Like they're running away as fast as they can.
I bought the thermostat when it first came out because I like the idea of like,
you said
man,
you're not happy with that, I believe.
It's fine for the most part.
Okay.
In that it works until it doesn't. So last week before maybe, it had been cold lately, so we had been using the heater here and there, and walk out and it's just completely dead. And there's a blinking red light. I'm just like, what the fuck is even going on? Like, because it's this battery, it's got a battery backup in it or something like that, but it's a powered thing. So if it can't get power, you can't have fucking heat, which is a dumb, in retrospect, it was fine with phones when we moved away from phones that just plugged into the wall and, now I can't make a call if the power's out.
Yeah.
You're like, that seems like something I should probably keep around an old phone for.
Sure.
But this is just like straight up like,
You can't put an old thermostat on there.
no, and so it turned out the internal battery had died, so I had to pull it out and plug it into my PC to juice it up for a while, and then it's been fine. I don't even know what the fuck happened. It was it was this dumb feeling of like, man, fucking burn all computers. Let's go back to fucking big switches and gears and fucking shit that I can click fucking on.
Yep.
And just have it work.
Yep.
Maybe I don't need to be able to turn the fucking heat on from bed that bad.
Turn a knob that completes a circuit, and then the thing works.
Yeah.
We did the same thing with our sous vide cooker. We bought a Joule, which is only Bluetooth. There's no buttons on it to turn it on.
Yeah.
And I will put in chicken at home while my girlfriend's at work, and she'll start getting notifications about when stuff is done, and I won't because it doesn't do well with two phones.
Yeah,
She's an
yeah.
iOS, I'm an Android. But like, yeah, going back, looking at that purchase, I would have thought, buy something where you can actually click a temperature and like let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Things are supposed to be convenient, but
I think the Nest is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like the idea of I can turn on the heater while I'm still laying in bed, that's a good idea.
yeah, that's not bad. It's no Wi-Fi connected juicer though. I mean,
That's true.
Think
Yeah.
about it.
If I could fucking just get fucking internet juice. The net juice is better. Like, don't fucking squeeze the bag, you dick.
DRM for your juice.
Hook that shit up to the internet so we can tell you if it went bad. Oh, by the way, it went bad. You need to buy more juice bags from us.
I laugh about it, but that
Also, we've locked out those bags that we sold you.
yeah, they might
I'm gonna hack my juicer.
We don't want you to drink
I'm gonna
those.
hack my juicer and drink my own fucking juice.
Oh, God.
man.
Who has time to clean a juicer?
Shut down Silicon Valley. It's gone too far. Brian.
Disrupt it with a fucking crowbar.
Yep. Brian sends on a little tip about maybe another place we could move to. When you guys were playing old-time hockey on UPF a couple of weeks ago, one of the hockeyers was from Dildo NL.
Yep.
I thought you guys would like to know that this is a real place. Dildo NL, which stands for Newfoundland and Labrador, is an unincorporated place in Canada. It was named as such because the arm of Trinity Bay in which it is located looks like a dildo.
Oh, I thought you were going to go back to like some old timey captain from England was named
James Dildo.
James Dildo of the dildos from Westchester.
Oh, the Westchester dildos.
Yes, of course. Archaeologically speaking, Dildo has been active with humans since about 2000 BC and has a really cool museum that unironically uses the term Dildo Task Force in reference to the fighting men and women who defended Dildo against the French in 1711.
I love Canada for having a sense of humor about that shit. We got Weed. Like, there's a town called Weed.
Yep,
near
I've
here,
been to
but,
Weed.
A lot of that stuff is like,
Wow.
There's always,
Okay.
People get really defensive. Like, no, it's named after James Weed. He fought in the Civil War. You can't fucking steal our street signs or anything like that. Like,
Dude, Weed was just on the way to my grandmother's house, so we would stop there and get gas every time we were driving up there. And I bought a lot of issues of Cracked magazine there, and I'm fond of that, so that's fine. But they were very much trafficking in the buy a fucking sign that says our town name on it while you are here. Like they fuck them. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
I grew up near Chevy Chase, Maryland, which I always dug because it was not named after Chevy Chase, as far as I could tell. There's some Civil War general, which I always think of being from the East Coast. There's always some Civil War bullshit. I'm actually really curious who Chevy Chase was. I think it was Old English, Duke. Probably is always my guess. Civil War general, usually. English War Duke.
Yeah, one of the two.
The English War.
Yes.
I'm rambling now.
One would assume that Chevy Chase was named after Chevy Chase.
I think Chevy Chase might have been a stage name. Am I wrong?
It sounds very much like a stage. I mean, I can answer that question very quickly. Although I don't know that I want to live in a world where I know what Chevy Chase's real name is.
If it's not Chevy Chase, I'm going to be kind of bummed out, honestly.
Yeah.
I could be way wrong about that.
Oh, my God.
Is it Charles Chase?
His first name is Cornelius.
Some Civil War bullshit.
His full name is Cornelius Crane Chase.
Wow. Okay. I see why he went with Chevy.
Or Chevy, for sure.
Yeah.
Emma Stone is named Emily, apparently. Huh. I just have to shoehorn a little Emma Stone fact whenever I can.
You'll do that.
I appreciate it.
Just to let her know.
Emily,
it's fine.
You're still thinking about
Just let her know. Let her know you haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
Let her know the restraining order is still good.
Charming in La La Land, I must say.
Last email also comes in from Trevino. He snuck 2 emails in the same week.
Damn it.
Who is filtering these things?
I don't know. So pulled a fast one. I've been listening to you since I was a waiter for On the Border in 2008. I am now a department head for a prominent family-owned company in Fort Worth, Texas, and something as recently became very important to me, socks. Let me explain. I have to wear dress code appropriate clothes, but socks seem to be fair game for expression.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What do you think I'm doing?
Basically, what I'm asking is, what's your sock game like? I have multicultural 8-bit Santa socks, rainbow striped socks, some neon chevron socks, and I'm always on the lookout for more. What's your sock game like?
We can show you right now.
Rory, whoa.
I went to Costco.
Okay.
And I got
Damn.
And hooked up some socks.
Some white ass tube socks.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like these long ones, but sometimes it gets cold. I really want to just take every sock I own and throw it all away because right now I have
clean. Yeah,
I have 3 different types of socks, so pairing them up
and if they're
out of the
same
wash
color,
sucks.
it's a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, what if I threw them all away and just bought 30 pairs of the exact same socks?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
and
a
then
good way to go.
I wouldn't have to fucking sit there and go, does this sock match this
That
sock?
is
Like
exactly what I do. It freed my life up.
Yeah,
like I
man.
was a whole new man.
When you
like,
stop caring, that's
yeah.
when your life
yeah,
is free.
exactly. But I bought 6
But I
pairs
got-
of like black ankle socks, and I like those.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah,
Thin socks. You got to get them.
80% of my stuff is
I want
just
thin
like
socks or fucking real thick cushion socks.
No.
One or the other, man.
No, thin.
But I also don't like these are very long socks for me. I like them at the ankle.
I don't like wearing high socks with undershorts. I need to cover my shame of my of my feet, which is the source of all my shame. But
All of it?
all of it.
where it
Most of it.
starts.
But socks, no, I do, and I'm not going to mention the brand name, but I buy it from one certain store in the mall, and I have a million. They're all different colors.
Yes, I
Yeah,
have noticed. I'm glad you're here for this email because you frequently go shoeless around the office,
I don't go shoe. I
And
do.
B,
I-
sometimes those socks don't match up, Rory.
and B, yes, you were constantly wearing mismatched socks, which I appreciate.
the reason is my feet sweat like a motherfucker, and they get really smelly, and
Does
I
one
need
get
good
sweatier
to
than the other, and that's
know.
why you need to change.
No,
one
I
sock
need to
the
have
other?
slip-ons. You guys, if I was wearing my shoes right now, I am not. You would not appreciate the odor that would come out of there because they sweat first and then they get really smelly. And I do it for everybody's protection.
Step 1, sweat. Step
we got
2, stank.
sensitive sales and marketing people.
I've
right
never
behind me.
noticed, so you must be doing something right.
It has never been an issue.
Yeah, it's not a problem. And I enjoy your festive sock nature.
Do it for you.
Thank you, Rory.
I got too many of them, and you just eventually like
You don't care, right?
Washing them half, you get one load of clothes in, you're doing that one, the other matching sock might be in there.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yep.
Just go wild.
Yeah.
Go crazy.
Yeah.
Express yourself.
Be
not,
you.
Not too much,
Yeah.
but express yourself.
Yep.
That's what I do. I break the rules
That's right.
without breaking too many
Yeah.
rules.
Don't break too many rules.
Okay. Bombcast@giantbomb.com. That's it for emails.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Again, thank you for swooping in and saving our asses at the very last second.
Again, sale tomorrow. News post will go up. We'll launch it sometime during the day, and I'll read that news story again. If the big thing to point out is if you sign up during a sale, it's $15 cheaper, but you don't get the store code, which normally comes at a full price. This is because the problem is we have these sales and there's no store code, and then as soon as the sale ends, it always comes back up with like, hey, you get a $15 store code. The messaging there is we try our best to make that clear, but it's very difficult. So
Yeah.
But sale tomorrow.
Yep.
A lot of premium stuff coming up, and I'm
Starts
gonna throw a
tomorrow.
bunch of old premium stuff on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube in the background, subscribe to our channel, and you'll see more old.
That's
premium
right.
Stuff.
Yeah. Go subscribe to our
Like-
YouTube channel or something, I guess.
We'll
if you wanna
put-
do that.
we'll put all that stuff
We
on
put-
Twitter and
yeah,
Facebook and
we
everything
put
like that,
videos up there too. We're on the internet.
Yeah.
We on that motherfucking internet.
Premium is a big part of keeping the doors running around here.
Yeah.
Trains
That
lit.
door would have
Yes.
the door of this podcast studio would have been blown off by now.
We
if
do.
not for your subscriptions.
Definitely
Yes.
appreciate all of our premium subscribers.
Yeah.
You guys are great, and guys and gals are great.
Yep.
And tell your friends.
Yeah.
Tell your mom.
Yes.
I
Get
will.
your mom to
She-
subscribe to this website.
She has no idea what I do,
That-
but yeah, I'll let her know again.
We can maybe comp
We'll
your
keep-
mom.
we'll
if
keep-
you-
we'll keep working on her.
Yeah.
All right.
She'll see the light one day.
Just a free week.
Or
Just
else.
give her a taste.
No?
What?
So not enough talking about your mom?
Nope.
All right. We're done talking about Jason's mom. That's the
Yep.
end of the podcast. See you
Yep.
next week.
So wait, did they announce a new Night Trap while we were recording the podcast?
Appears to be what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Does this sound like Night Trap?
Yeah, I mean the music is Night Trap.
It totally does.
Oh, that's
Shit, we can
God
pull this
in
up.
the Night Trap. Yeah, that's Night Trap.
Yeah, I had a ton of people
Checks out.
talking about that in chat.
Are they going back and remastering
mean-
the footage in 4K?
I don't know. 25th anniversary edition is what it's called.
Hey, I can play it.
They're putting Night Trap back out
They should do that. That game's bad, but
for PS4. Is what it says. Not like soon.
spring 2017. That is very fucking soon.
We're in spring 2017. Now you can go download the Night
download
Trap
the
theme
theme
song for
song.
free.
Oh, that's kind of awesome. They're doing
a Sega
physical
CD.
versions that have the 32X and Sega CD
yeah.
stuff striped on the side. That's kind of neat.
That's pretty dumb.
Whoa.
The whole generation missed Night Trap, and now they're gonna have the opportunity to see what shitty games were like.
It's the magic.
It's a bad game.
Yeah.
25 years, God. I'm young as a spring chicken. I swear to God, I never feel old though.
Sometimes I hurt in a weird way, but that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yes, they should make another Night Trap.
Another one?
Another one?
Like a new one?
No, I guess actually no.
Who
Because
was
they
the
can't.
star of that
Dana
again?
Plato.
Dana Plato.
Yep.
So they can't make a new Night Trap.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Technology.
Did she survive the first game?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, if you played it right.
Could Grand Moff Tarkiner.
Is there a date on this? Release date?
Spring 2017.
Spring now.
Very soon.
Spring of this
So
year.
very soon.
PS4 exclusive, it looks like.
All right.
That's
download
what it
the Night Trap
appears.
theme song.
As of who the hell's doing this?
Why wouldn't they just
Look
do
at
why
box
wouldn't
art.
they save that for an E3 stage thing?
know.
That's like
Limited
and it's
run.
out today.
That would be really good.
Shit.
Especially if it's Sony only. I wonder if they are involved. If it's PS4 only. See if we got a press release
Using their time wisely.
real fast before we move on.
Is that
Sewer Shark can't be far behind.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Put Rebel Assault back out while you're at it. Let's get all the bad fucking Sega CD games back on the market.
Plumbers Don't Wear Ties.
The PC version of that surfaced lately, but it doesn't have video.
How do you play it?
It's static images apparently.
No.
Like they've reduced it to they've changed the nature. I don't know. It's ridiculous. All right.
I didn't get a press release.
That's the actual end of the podcast.
That's all I know. Hey,
they're doing a new Night Trap. Breaking.
Night Trap's coming back out.
Fuck it. Why not?